It's an absolutely picture-perfect night for baseball here at Citizens Bank Park as the Phillies and the Miami Marlins get together for Game 2 of this three-game series, and the Phillies hope to duplicate the offense that they put up in last night's ball game. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy. I'll be joined in just a little bit by Jamie Moyer and Greg Murphy. You know, last night the game last night was all about the Phillies' offense. The starting pitchers for both teams really struggled. But starting pitching is where it begins and ends from a baseball standpoint. And it begins, whether it be early in the day as they prepare for a start, or it begins as they stretch before they go into the bullpen to get themselves set for the game itself. There's so much nuance-wise that goes into starting pitching. We thought we'd have Jamie Moyer and Greg Murphy tell us all about the preparation.
All right, thank you very much, Tom. We are out here in the Phillies bullpen and getting set for a start today for a starting pitcher. But, you know, most folks know that the pitchers come out about 30 minutes before and do their work in here. But you say, Jamie, that the preparation for a good outing starts well before that.
A lot of it starts well before it, even sometimes going over the hitters, the day's hitters, the opponent's lineup with the pitcher and the catcher. But from there, it goes into the training room, usually with an arm stretch, some sort of stretching routine that a pitcher goes through. Some like to do it out here on the warning track. Also, they like to play some catch, maybe some long toss. But once they come through that gate and come up here on the mound, that's when their day really begins.
All right, so take us through that. Into the bullpen they come about 25 minutes before first pitch, 30 minutes before first pitch. And what are the guys working on in particular to kind of get ready, both mind and body, for their start?
Well, really, the main or for them to come down here in the bullpen is to come down and find out what they have on a given day. And a lot of times, you know, they're taking what they were working on in a bullpen from their previous start, things they've talked with their pitching coach about, and they're trying to get that tempo and that rhythm going so when they get out on the field, they're ready to go. But a lot of times here, the pitching coach will add something or see something mechanical. He may throw it out there. Some guys like that. Some guys don't like that. But that's already been worked out beforehand. But it's really important to have that relationship with your pitching coach so he doesn't become a distraction if you don't like it. And if you do like it, you know, in my case, I loved it when a pitching coach would throw something at me because, again, I always use that as a positive criticism because I want to be my best here in the bullpen to be able to take what I have out on the field.
All right, so the work is done. You're about 5 to 10 minutes before the start of the game. You make your way into the dugout, last words with teammates, then back out on the mound. How much of what you've done in here translates to what you will do out there?
It can play a key role, and I know over the course of my career, there's a lot of times when I had a really good bullpen, I was really skeptical. When I walked into that dugout, I really had to try to maintain my focus because I sense that guys, when they have a really good bullpen, they tend to relax and maybe not bring that edge with them. But for me also, when I had a really poor bullpen out here, I really had to focus to try to figure some things out to take that success out on the field and put forth a good game.
All right, well, the bottom line is no matter what happens in here, the success has to happen out there, Tom, and it starts well before first pitch at 7:05. We'll send it back to you up in the booth.
All right, Murph, thank you very much. That's some great stuff right there. And it's Jonathan Pettibone who's getting himself ready for tonight's ball game, finishing up his bullpen session leading into the start against the Miami Marlins. That's only part of it. Of course, Nate Eovaldi, who's on the other end, he gets a little longer because he's the visiting pitcher. Well, a lot of stretching with the legs, a lot of getting themselves ready to get into the pen to get their warm-up started. Well, last night it was the bullpen that really helped the Phils to the victory. How good was Jake Diekman? He was outstanding, and also Mario Hollins. And then Jonathan Papelbon finished up strong for the Phils. We'll see if the Phils can duplicate it tonight. Lineups and first pitch when we return. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Budweiser. Here's to Budweiser. Here's to baseball. By Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. By Citizens Bank, introducing one deposit checking. Keeping things simple is helping you bank better. By Toyota. Toyota's #1 for everyone sales event is going on now. Toyota, let's go places. And by Independence Blue Cross, the most preferred health plan in the region. Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. For the Phillies, let's take a look at the Marlins starting lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Leading it off in left field, Christian Yelich. Marcell Ozuna bats second. Giancarlo Stanton hits third, followed by Garrett Jones and Casey McGee. Jared Saltalamacchia bats sixth. Then it's Baker, Echeverria, and Eovaldi. And they will indeed face the 23-year-old right-hander Jonathan Pettibone. Last year, 5-4 with an ERA of 4.04. He made one start in the minor leagues before he was recalled today to fill a void in the Phillies starting rotation. And he's ready to go on the first pitch of the night. Just off the outside corner, we're underway. All right, what about Jonathan Pettibone, Jamie, as we look at our Budweiser scouting report?
Well, we're going to see upper 80s, low mid 90s fastball, slider, cutter, probably a lot of sliders, a lot of sinkers. And I think for Jonathan tonight, it's just a matter of getting his feet underneath him, trying to work efficiently, as we always talk about working efficiently, allow his defense to support him and get the defense off the field and hopefully score some runs again tonight. But yeah, it's about him getting himself established here in his first start.
He threw 90 pitches in his first minor league outing this year. So yesterday, Ryan Sandberg said there are no restrictions. Now, what he means by that, it's probably 100, 105 pitches, and it depends on how he does early on, how long he'll be around here tonight. Line drive, base hit to left field for Yelich. So he's aboard. Yelich was 1 for 4 in last night's game. Well, it's time now for our Nissan keys to tonight's ball game against the Miami Marlins. What are you thinking about for tonight?
Well, for me, the keys are for the Phillies to play off of the momentum that they created yesterday. I think that's really, really important. There was a lot of positive momentum. It was a nice game by the whole club. And, AJ struggled, but he got through 4+ innings. He had an injury. They had to take him out. The bullpen picked him up. I think that's important. And also finding a way to get to Nathan Eovaldi early in the game like they did last night to Fernandez.
Well, here's Marcell Ozuna. He showed bunt on that first pitch, and he takes low. Ozuna has torn up the Phils in less than a year, really, in the big leagues. This year overall hitting .317. This is his second game in a row batting in the 2-hole. Swing and a miss, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Well, from what I'm understanding about Ozuna is he can look really, really bad on a swing, and the next swing he can look like he's the best hitter in the world, and that's really interesting to hear that type of a comment for a young player. It shows that he's able to make adjustments, and he does have some discipline.
Quick toss over to first, and Yelich is back without a tag. He was picked off last night.
And Tom, you talked about Pettibone. He'll be, probably may let him go 100, 105 pitches, but I think some of that too is the duress. I like to call situations that you're pitching under duress. If you're under a lot of duress, they may not let him go to that 100, 105 point because he's pitching under duress. Hopefully he doesn't. We don't have to see that, and we don't get into that type of a situation. But I'm sure that will be watched closely.
When we saw him in spring training, he had the shoulder issue, which obviously sidelined him for the last 2 months last year, and early on in spring this year, he was pretty much free and easy in those 2 innings that we saw him in Clearwater. 2-1 pitch. Fouls at the plate, and it's 2-2.
And I always believe that there is a difference between spring training, pitching in the minor leagues, and now pitching here at the major league level. And I think you'd ask any young guy who's been back and forth from the minor leagues to the big leagues, or any guy that's established himself here at the major league level, there is a big gap or a big difference between the minor leagues and the major leagues. And that's why it's so hard, number one, to get here, but then to stay here.
A little low with a changeup, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Mentioned that last year Pettibone was 5-4 with an ERA of 4.04 before missing the last 2 months with soreness in his rotator cuff. He was better against 500 teams or better. He was 3-2 against those squads. Runner goes. The pitch is hit in the air to right field. Bird on the run, back toward the wall, angling, makes a basket catch, and there's one away. There is very little wind here tonight, but that ball had a lot of movement on it, fading away from Marlon Byrd.
Had a lot of tail to it. He actually went a long way for that ball, but stayed with it. And I think we're getting accustomed to seeing this this basket catch from Marlon Byrd. This time he didn't get his chest in the way.
Well, there's one out. Marlon catches his breath, and here's Giancarlo Stanton. Phillies were able to get Stanton last night 3 times on strikes. So he has 13 RBIs, tied for 3rd in Major League Baseball, 1st in the National League. He and Mark Trumbo of the Diamondbacks both off to good starts in that category. And it's 1 ball and no strikes. A.J. Burnett, who struggled through 4+ innings last night. He left with a soreness in his groin. He was going through some testing today, and they're hoping to have some results to those tests sometime soon, as that ball is ripped past Galvis into left field. And 2 hits now in this inning for the Marlins. During the 2014 season, Turkey Hill, the official ice cream of the Phillies, will contribute $100 for each Phillies victory and 5 cents for each carton of Phillies Grand Slam ice cream, sold to support the Phillies youth baseball and softball programs. Garrett Jones, 1 for 4 with a walk in last night's ball game. This issue here in the first inning is not anything new for Pettibone. Last year in the 18 starts, he allowed 13 earned runs in the first inning.
Well, it tells you that the first inning obviously is a kind of a settling in inning for him, and sometimes you go through that spell of struggling in the first inning, and everybody looks at it differently. I know I had, during the course of my career, had some situations like that when I was in Baltimore where I just couldn't get through the first inning, and I really couldn't put a finger on what it was. And I actually would try to finish my pregame bullpen facing the first 3 hitters of the game, convincing myself that when I went out to the mound, I was in my 2nd inning.
All about the mind.
Yep.
0-2 pitch. Change up. Did he go? Yes, he did. Good spot for that one, fading away from Garrett Jones. 2 outs here in the first.
Here's a good changeup. He's followed a changeup with a slider previous pitch, and then threw a nice tailing changeup away from Jones right there. And Jones is a guy that he wants the ball up out over the plate, and he wants to try to turn on that ball. So it's a great pitch there.
Well, now Casey McGee was 0 for 2 with 2 walks. That was in last night's ball game. Overall, hitting .263, no homers and 10 RBIs. Inside, 1 ball, no strikes. Now let me ask you something. When you tried to do that in Baltimore, did it work?
Not initially. Not initially, but believe it or not, I did that. I started to use that, and I used it the remainder of my career.
Did you really?
I did. I liked it so much, just to try to get that mindset. So I'd actually have, if it was Carlos or whoever else was in the bullpen, call the first 3 hitters of the game to try to get my mind into what I wanted to do, even though there wasn't a hitter there and there wasn't a result there. Just get my mind in going in the right direction.
So you never faced Jose Reyes in the first inning of a Mets game, then?
Exactly.
But it's very interesting that the mind does play those kind of tricks.
Oh yeah. Yep.
1 ball and 1 strike to McGee. Just missed a little low, and it's 2-1.
Well, and I believe when you are in ruts like that, at times as a pitcher, when you're struggling, you start giving up hits and you start to think, oh boy, here we go again. And that's really the wrong way to think. But when you're in a rut like that, sometimes that's really what you do think on the mound, and it's not the right way to go about it.
Ground ball to shortstop. Jimmy Rollins stays down on it, goes to second. Side is retired. So it takes 19 pitches, but Jonathan Pettibone is through his first inning here at Citizens Bank Park. Middle of the first, it's the Marlins 0, and the Phillies coming up. Starting lineup for tonight's ball game. It's brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Very similar to last night's game. Tony Gwynn leads it off at center, then Jimmy Rollins and Chase Utley. Ryan Howard, the first baseman, bats cleanup. Marlon Byrd in right field hits fifth. Dominic Brown bats sixth. In the bottom third of Ruiz, Galvis. That's one of the changes. Freddie starting over at third base, and Jonathan Pettibone. And they'll face 24-year-old right-hander Nate Eovaldi, who is evolving as a starting pitcher. He's had a pretty good start to this year, and I think one of the big numbers, Jamie, is the walks. Just one walk in 13 innings.
Yeah, that's ideally as a starting pitcher, that's what you're trying to do. Is you're trying to eliminate the walks or minimize the walks and force contact. And in this situation, Nate's situation here, he's got a lot of strikeouts.
Take a look at the Budweiser scouting report on Nate Eovaldi.
We're going to see a mid to upper 90s fastball. We hear he's got a great arm. He's got good tilt to his slider, and it's a late breaking slider. He throws a curveball and a changeup. As you see his career numbers versus the Phillies, he's 1-4 with a 4.13 ERA.
His last outing against the Phillies was probably the best one he's had. He went 7 innings against them in September. They'll face Tony Gwynn, Jimmy Rollins, and Chase Utley to begin tonight's ball game for the Phillies offense. Tony playing center field for a second straight night. More to just give Ben Revere an extra day with those sore ribs. He was 0 for 3 last night with a walk and a run scored. He shows bunt, takes outside. It's 1-0.
You saw that first pitch was 96 miles an hour. His average velocity this year with his fastball is 96.2 miles an hour.
I mentioned he's just 24 years old, and he is from Alvin, Texas.
You know somebody else that might be from Alvin, Texas.
Must be something in the water. It produces fireballers.
Nolan Ryan.
Yep, Nolan Ryan, of course. I think he still lives in Alvin, Texas.
He does.
That ball's hit well. Deep toward right field. Stanton going back toward the track to the wall, and it's off the top of the scoreboard. Wins to second. He's thinking about 3. Nope, he puts the brakes on. And that was smart. First extra base hit of the year for Tony Gwynn. A leadoff double here at the bottom of the first.
Nice at bat here by Tony. Gets ahead in the count. I'm sure he's sitting on a fastball, and he gets a fastball down in the zone and puts it off the wall in right field. Unfortunately, that ball didn't kick far enough off the wall. It would have been nice to see Tony standing on third base, but nice to have a leadoff double and setting the table here for Jimmy, Chase, and Ryan.
It could have burned Giancarlo Stanton that he got so close, but as you said, the ball died in the grass.
Yeah, as you saw, I think he thought maybe he was going to have a chance at catching it, so that's why he went to the wall. And I think once he committed to the wall, he couldn't get away from it quick enough to catch the ball off the wall.
Jimmy Rollins bunts that one foul. The idea, of course, is to try to get Tony Gwynn over to third. One part of last night's ball game that Ryan Sandberg could not stop talking about today was what guys like Rollins, Utley, Howard, Byrd, Dominic Brown did in succession, and how good it was to watch them put together the at-bats they did. 0-2 to Rollins. Mike Stanton, or I should say Giancarlo Stanton, after making that throw and after getting into the fence a little bit, sort of shaking that arm. He's got the big heavy wrap on that arm.
Have to keep an eye on that. Maybe if we get a hit out there, test him. See what we got.
Again?
Yeah.
Check swing. 1-2 to Rollins. They do appeal. No swing, says Kerwin Danley. Rollins last night was 2 for 3, 2 walks. He now has 694 walks all time, which is 6th place in Phillies history. Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Marge Ellers of Ridley Park, Pennsylvania. Phillies hit a home run in tonight's ball game, then Marge will win $200. Do you know the Ellers from Ridley Park at all?
I don't.
There's going to come some family that you may know from growing up. And
yeah. Wouldn't be surprised.
That ball is spun back toward the middle, and it's going to leak into center field. A base hit. Wins around third. He'll score easily. It's 1-0 Phillies on top. An RBI single for Jimmy Rollins, his 9th of the year. And that's a good way to start. I have to admit, I'm surprised that Jeff Baker did not at least try to dive for this ball and knock it down.
Well, he was actually almost looked like they were playing. Jeff Baker was playing in the hole at second base. It's a little surprising to me with Eovaldi throwing as hard as he does.
That's a good point, too.
The previous pitch was just a simple 98 miles an hour.
Here's Chase Utley, and speaking of Chase, take a look at our Mazda leaders for the Phillies' first 10 games since 1900. He is one of the leaders all time in batting average, hitting .469 right now. He's 6th with Von Hayes leading the way. Get some of those names. Chase's career numbers against Eovaldi. As Rollins is back ahead of that tag.
And I really like how this game has gotten started. The momentum the Phillies have been able to create here in the first inning. Hopefully they can continue to build off of that. I think last night's momentum has allowed them to get this kind of a start today. And knowing that they're going to face, they faced Fernandez last night, who's got a big arm. Obviously, I would think he would agree today that he probably wasn't as sharp as he normally is, and getting to him, and I think that builds confidence. And again, with the Phillies having good numbers, fairly decent numbers against Eovaldi, getting it out early, I think is important.
Well, speaking of Fernandez, he had one pretty succinct quote after last night's ball game. I just didn't have it.
And you know what? I think it's pretty great that a 22-year-old can recognize that, number one, and then verbalize it and say, he's probably, today I'm going to move on.
About 8 hits in 4 innings. As Utley slices that foul, the 8 hits in 4 innings, the most he's surrendered in a game. The 6 runs, the most he has surrendered in 31 career games. And our Geico quote of the day from Fernandez. This is why the game is amazing. You throw 2 good starts, and then you come up here and get your butt kicked.
He's got pretty good perspective for a 22-year-old.
I think that's going to mean good things for the opposition for the years to come.
Well, I think you watch his next outing, I guarantee he probably has a really good outing because he feels like he has something to prove. Not that he doesn't each and every time out, but when you don't have a good outing, your effort level seems to elevate a little bit in your next start.
Rollins has drawn a couple throws over to first. Two balls and 2 strikes to Utley. Chase was 2 for 4 in last night's ball game. He walked once, scored a couple runs, had an RBI. He's hit in 8 consecutive games. That one's out toward left center field. On the run is Ozuna, and he's not going to get it. It's a one-hop off the wall and then over his head. Rollins around third, heading for home, and he's going to score. It's an RBI double for Utley, and the Phillies take a 2-0 lead. 2 doubles and a single here in the bottom of the first. Boy, his swing is as good as we've seen.
Yeah, it's short, compact, the ball's elevated, which allows him to elevate the ball and gets a nice big hop off of that right center field wall. Took a little more time for them to retain that ball and gave Jimmy a couple extra steps, allowing him to score a little bit easier.
Certainly makes Pete Buchanan's life a little easier over at third.
It sure does.
With the wheels of Rollins, who's looking for some oxygen right now. So 2-0 Phillies, still nobody out. Runner at second. Ryan Howard is due up. Howard was 1 for 2 last night with 2 walks. Fights that one off. It's 0-1.
Oh, and I like to, Jimmy was a little bit of a distraction at first base. They decided to throw over there a couple times. For a young kid or younger kid, he's trying to keep an eye on the base runner. He doesn't want him to advance to second base with a stolen base. He wants to keep him close to maybe keep the potential double play in order. Loses some of the focus at home plate, elevates the fastball, and Chase did a great job of fouling some tough pitches off and drove the ball to right center field. So doing a lot of good things here just for the first couple hitters of the game. And really, Jonathan Pettibone has to feel pretty good too, going out there in the second inning with at least a 2-run lead.
Took me the way he was able to finish up the top of the first too, getting that ground ball out, leaving a couple of runners. 0-1 to Ryan Howard. Oh, 0-2. Eovaldi was originally the 11th round selection in 2008 by the Los Angeles Dodgers. Breaking ball and a call, strike 3. Marlins picked him up in the trade that sent Hanley Ramirez to the Dodgers, and that was essentially 2 shortstops ago for them.
Here you see a slider pretty much in the middle of the plate, up in the zone. Pretty good pitch. After seeing that high fastball, it's I don't know. I've never hit that kind of stuff for a living. Fortunately, I haven't had to, but it's kind of tough.
Well, you've watched hitters get frozen by that kind of pitch.
Oh yeah.
Marlon Byrd's the hitter. Marlins hit it 5 straight games. Swing and a miss and a breaking ball. 0-1. Marlon had a couple of RBIs in last night's ball game, including the first one of the game when he lined that ball off the wall and left. Towards second on one hop. Baker's there. He spins around, and there are 2 outs. Utley goes to third. Sounded like it may have broken Marlin's bat. And that'll bring Dominic Brown to the plate. Dominic is not homered yet this year, but he's quietly put together a good start. He's hitting .333. He had 2 hits in last night's ball game.
I think his approach, can't say that it's different than it was last year, but his approach to the plate and to the pitchers he's faced so far, I think has been very good. And I think that's what's allowed him to have the success that he's had thus far this season. And in our couple previous series, he's been predominantly pitched away, and he's hit the ball the other way.
That one's out toward left field. Yelich going back on the track, and he makes the catch a few steps from the wall. Side is retired, but the Phillies scored 2. It begins with Tony Gwynn's double up the wall in right field. Then Rollins rolls one through the middle for an RBI single, and then Chase Utley smokes one the opposite way to bring home Rollins. Phillies lead it 2-0 as we go to the second. And some of the group value dates that are in store for 2014. Buy one, get one free dates include the 10th of April, the 5th of May, the 5th of August, and the 9th of September. Group value date pricing is good for groups of 50 or more. Call 215-463-5000 or again, log on to Phillies.com. We begin the top of the second. Jared Saltalamacchia leads it off, and he takes outside. It's 1-0. Saltalamacchia, the switch hitting catcher, was 0 for 3 last night with 2 runs scored. I think we're sensing Lance Barksdale's strike zone in these first couple of innings. Pettibone is trying to get the outside part of the plate, and he's just a little too far off the plate, but not by much.
But the equalizer right there is a changeup, looking like a fastball. And I love seeing him establish that pitch here early in the game, especially when he's behind in the count. It's in a fastball count, throws a changeup, it looks like a fastball. The hitter reacts to it like a fastball, and it's just not there.
Outside, 3-1. Last year in 18 major league starts, Pettibone went at least 6 innings in 8 of those 18. Just off the outside corner. And the first walk of the night brings Jeff Baker to the plate, and that brings us to Greg Murphy. Murph?
All right, T-Mac, thank you very much. Well, Jonathan Pettibone getting his first start of the year. That meant the Phillies had to make a roster move today, and that move was sending Brad Lincoln, the relief pitcher, down to AAA. And part of the reason behind that is because they would like Lincoln to work on a 2-seam fastball. He didn't have that pitch when up here in the big leagues. It's something that he had been working on a little bit in spring training, but just didn't feel comfortable throwing it in a big league game. He has the 4-seamer, which tends to stay up in the strike zone more often than not. So they want him to work on that 2-seam fastball and a pitch that they can, that he can use in a fastball count, and he can keep it down in the zone. So he's headed down there. They think, if he's able to kind of command that pitch, then it'll help his breaking stuff as well. So, Jamie, when you think about that, obviously add another pitch to your repertoire. It's going to help you as long as you can throw it for strikes. So that's the idea about getting Brad Lincoln some work down there. And he's going to pitch as early as Sunday.
Well, and I think getting him back throwing on a consistent basis is going to be important. And if he's going to work on a pitch, that's the best place for him to do it, is somewhere where he's going to get that opportunity on a consistent basis.
Yeah, he just didn't like working on it, or at least he didn't feel comfortable working on it, as Murph alluded to, in a big league game. He did use it in spring training.
I get that. When you're trying to learn something, you don't want to go out and embarrass yourself or pitch poorly, get poor results on a pitch that you're not confident with. It's a tough way to pitch.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Baker. At the knees, a call, strike 3. 2 strikeouts for Pettibone. 1 away for Echeverria.
And if you keep pounding that area, he got that call. Earlier, I don't think he was getting that pitch. So if he's going to show the umpire that he can consistently make that pitch right around the plate, a lot of times they will start giving it to you if it's respectable, and I think that was right there, and had some good movement to it.
That brings Echeverria to the plate. Echeverria was 2 for 3 last night with a walk. With the dirt, nice play by Ruiz.
As I said last night, this kid's quietly becoming a really good hitter. I noticed today in some of the statistics, I think he's 4th in the league in hits, and I don't think anybody knows who he is.
Yeah, they know him more as a defensive guy than anything else. He has 16 hits and 43 at bats. Line drive, base hit into left field. Short, compact swing, and they're 2 on with 1 out for Eovaldi.
Well, he showed that he can hit the fastball not only tonight but last night. I think you got to make him prove that he can hit the off-speed pitch.
And it's safe to say that Pettibone, at least through the first inning plus here, has a pretty good changeup here tonight.
He does.
Well, Eovaldi 6 for 77 during his career. Lifetime .078 batter. He's 0 for 3 this season. Does have 6 sacrifice bunts to his career line. Last night, Jose Fernandez missed the sign in this similar situation with 1 out, runners on first and second. 0-1 to Eovaldi. And then Brett Butler had a conversation with him before the next pitch.
Mr. Butler was the master at bunting in his career. Boy, he could lay it down and he could get it to stop just at the cut of the grass. And he could run as well.
That was a big part of his game, the leadoff games for the Dodgers, for the Mets. Teams like that. Ball is bunted foul off the third base line. It's 0-2.
I saw him today during batting practice. Jokingly, I asked him, I said, hey, you getting some of these guys to, you teaching some of these guys how to bunt? He kind of looked at me like, yeah, we're working on it. We're getting back to bunting 101.
Well, he was so good at it. There's such a high standard that he probably has for it. He's wondering who's teaching these kids. Down and away, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
It's interesting the style with Eovaldi here. He's in the front of the box, and everybody has a little different style. But you know, a lot of teams I was with, they taught you to get to the back of the box. You get to see the ball longer. It keeps the catcher back there longer, and you get a bigger area to bunt to.
He bunts at it and misses. The throw to second is not in time. He gets Saltalamacchia. 3 strikeouts for Pettibone. For complete coverage of the day's major stories, breaking news, and weather, watch NBC 10. Count on it. Well, if you watch the weather today, then you know that it is a spectacular day here in the Delaware Valley. In fact, Jamie and I are wearing the pullover, but Murph's wearing the golf shirt. So, Murph, it's golf shirt weather out there tonight? Is that what you're telling us?
It is absolutely. You know, the first time we could do that all year, I'm going to do it. And it's gorgeous out here tonight.
Hope everybody's enjoying themselves. The weather's supposed to be nice again tomorrow for the final game of this 3-game series. Perfect night to enjoy some cotton candy. He's going to be enjoying that for hours, even when he's done with it. See the conditions.
Looks like the wind's blowing straight down, huh?
Straight down. Yeah, don't hit it high in the air because it's going to come right on down. Off the hands, over to third. And Galvis watches it go back out of play. One ball and 1 strike.
Even last night we commented on Yelich's swing. He's got a really nice swing for a young kid. And he hit some balls pretty good last night, but it looks like if you get the ball elevated and get it deep enough in there, it really doesn't allow him to get his arms extended and ties him up.
And a youngster like that will get a free baseball. Back toward the middle. Rollins ranges behind the bag. He's going to have to hurry. The throw is low. Not in time, and the bases are loaded. There was not much they could do. The ball wasn't hit all that hard. There was no play at second. And Yelich does run well, as we talked about before. So that'll go down as an infield hit. He's 2 for 2. If Saltalamacchia was running from first to second instead of second to third, they may have had a play at second.
Oh, and it's obviously Jimmy had to go a long way to get to that ball and then try to turn and spin with Yelich's speed. That is a tough play, but it's really key that they kept the ball in the infield. It keeps, you know, the force in order at any base, and it kept them from scoring a run.
So Pettibone now has to deal with Marcell Ozuna, who flat out to the wall and right his only time up. He's 0 for 1. The bases are loaded here in the top of the second. 1 ball and no strikes.
And I think the key for Jonathan is to try to get ahead in the count. And that's one thing he hasn't done consistently yet this game. He has not thrown many first pitch strikes.
Chopper toward third. It's a foul ball. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, to your point, 11 batters, 2 first pitch strikes.
Pretty good pitch right there. Fastball down and away. Split the corner. Got himself back in the count to make it an even 2-2 count. See what happens here.
See what Carlos decides. It's 2 balls and 2 strikes with the bases loaded. Just off the outside corner, 3-2, so the runners will be off. Saltalamacchia from third, Echeverria from second, Yelich from first. And Giancarlo Stanton is in the on-deck circle. Ground ball toward the left side. Rollins charges, has time, throws, and it's off the glove of Howard. 1 run scores. Now that's going to be an error to Ryan Howard, because that should have been the final out of the inning. Instead, it's a 2-1 ball game, and the bases remain loaded. I think that's a ball that just popped out of his glove. I don't know if he closed his glove too early or what, but it was right there.
Throw took him slightly up the line. I couldn't tell.
Yeah, he just dropped it. Watch it there, Jamie. There we go.
It looks like it hit the inside of the outside edge of the glove.
Ryan Sandberg was saying the other day that there are some limitations physically for Ryan Howard because of that knee, but that's just a play. I mean, we talked about it the other night when he missed that ground ball. It's just a play that he knows he needs to make. And now you got to deal with Giancarlo Stanton with the bases loaded.
Because, as I told you, pitching under duress. This is what I'm referring to as duress. Even though there's 2 outs, you've got to make a lot of quality pitches right here to a very good hitter.
Change up, and it's 2-0. E3, no RBI, because it would have ended the inning. And now it's 3-0. Garrett Jones is on deck. That one's back toward the middle. Utley is there. Sliding attempt. The flip to second is not in time. 1 run scores. Here comes the second run. And Jimmy Rollins is going to want to challenge that play at second base. Right now, the Marlins lead it 3-2. Ozuna does not run all that well. But it looked like he beat the throw just from our vantage point. But let's take another look at it. Here's 2 looks. There's Rollins near the bag, and boy, it's really close. I mean, it has to be indisputable as evidence. Watch it here. He led him toward the bag. Rollins' foot is, I think Rollins' foot is on the bag. I think he's out. From that angle right there, Jamie, it looks like he's out.
It's an odd slide by Ozuna. He kind of touched the side of the bag.
He went to the back side, right?
Front of the bag, yeah.
Larry Boas says with a thumbs up, it's time to challenge. And let's see if the Phillies can win their first challenge of the year. And it would be a big one because it would keep it at a 2-1 ball game instead of 3-2 in favor of the Marlins. Now again, it has to be indisputable evidence. And looking at the replay, and obviously the umpires are looking at the same replays we're looking at. Watch this again. Watch where Rollins' foot hits the bag. There, and Ozuna's foot is not on the bag. And as Jamie pointed out, a very odd slide for Marcell Ozuna. Here's another look. Gary Cederstrom's the crew chief. He was right on it, but I don't know if he could see. Yeah, he's out. They're going to take a long look at this one. It's a tough one because of the angle, but I think this is going to go in the favor of the Phillies, Jamie.
It's looking like it.
It was awfully close, though. How about the play by Utley, though, to get there?
Yeah, just to get there.
To stop it.
Stop it.
So we're a minute and a half into this replay. And still no decision as Kerwin Danley and Gary Cedarstrom are joined with the umpires who are up in New York.
See, normally you would slide to the front part of that bag there.
Absolutely. He should have been safe easily if he had slid to the front side of the bag, but he slid to the backside, and that's why it looked like Rollins' foot hit the bag before Ozuna's foot hit the bag. This is how close it could be. I mean, this is just over 2 minutes, and they may be slowing it down and doing everything they can technology-wise to get it right. Here comes Gary Cedarstrom. He's got the headset off. Look at it one more time, and they call him out. Gary Cedarstrom just signaled out, and the Phillies have won the review, and they lead it 2-1 as we go to the bottom of the second inning. What a play by Chase Utley, and a great decision by Jimmy Rollins to dispute it, to then give Ryan Sandberg time to come out and give Larry Bowa an opportunity to hear whether the out should have been recorded or was recorded or not. So this is the decision from Larry Bowa. Yep, thumbs up. You should challenge this one. And they look at the play, and Jimmy Rollins' foot did indeed hit the bag before Marcell Ozuna's, and Gary Cedarstrom confirms it. Of a 4-game series on Monday. It's the first Hatfield Dollar Dog Night at the ballpark. On Thursday, it's the Citizens Bank Red Goes Green Day, a free MLB Network reusable tote for all fans. Tickets can be purchased for that 4-game series any time by going to Phillies.com. Well, the Phillies with a break as they lead it 2-1 as we go to the bottom of the second, and Carlos Ruiz lifts one to deep left field. Going back on it is Yelich, out toward the wall, and he makes the catch. Yeah, there's one away. Just got it down toward the handle a little bit. At least it looked that way from the pitch.
I don't think he got his arms quite extended enough.
Well, Jamie, as far as Phillies games go, there's probably one more, but I'm thinking of 2 games right now where replay has changed a play that could have meant more for the team who was on the offensive end. I mean, the Marlins could have led it 3-2 and still had 2 base runners and 2 outs.
Just never know where that would have gone.
And the other day in the Brewers series, the Phillies had Ben Revere, who was called out at second base on a play that could have changed the complexion of that inning too.
Exactly.
Good or bad, it's obviously had an impact, and I guess
it has. And I know it's had an impact around the rest of baseball.
Breaking ball, and it's 2-1 to Galvis. Ready pulls it foul, 2-2. Chavez was 0 for 1 last night with a walk. Played in 70 games last year for the Phillies. Hit 6 home runs. And drove in 19. Inside 3-2. Talking to him yesterday about the whole MRSA situation. He said it was the weirdest thing. He said, I had a cut. And then the next day I was in the hospital. As he pops that one up to the left side. Yeah, there are 2 outs. Here's to Budweiser. Here's to baseball. 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. A lot of Budweisers consumed here tonight and tomorrow as we wind down this 3-game series with the Marlins. By the way, just to wrap up that story with Freddie could not have been more thankful for the Phillies athletic training staff, for the Phillies doctors, and for the doctors that took care of him in the hospital down in Clearwater. So he said it was kind of scary. Pettibone lines it foul. Said he got his strength back though pretty quick, and obviously he's back a little earlier than they anticipated, so that was the case.
Well, most importantly, he's feeling healthy.
Another foul ball. Pettibone a little tardy on that fastball.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I've been in this situation many a times, and you feel like you're putting your best swing on it, and you just can't get it into fair territory. It's frustrating.
You would have been a good cricket player, though. You would have been able to play that game as a hitter. Breaking ball, and Pettibone is down on strike. So 2 strikeouts for Eovaldi, 6 in a row since the RBI double by Chase Utley. We have played 2 here at Citizens Bank Park. As we go to the 3rd, it's the Phillies 2, the Marlins 1. On the Phillies.com, go to the fans section for all the information, and please submit your answer on the subject line. All right, Jamie, this is a tough one. What player holds the single-season Marlins record for most plate appearances in a season with 748? Answer will be revealed a little later on. There are some candidates that pop in almost immediately, but you have to sort through those guys, because they've had some good guys that have been at the top of their order. We go to the top of the 3rd. Marlins and the Phils. Phillies lead it 2-1. Well, MLB has provided the play that they have sent down, or the shot that they've sent down, that they use to decide the overturn in the top of the 2nd inning. This is them looking at it. They're going back and forth, and that's one of our shots from one of our camera operators, Mike Miller, who does a great job, who was able to get that shot, and then they were able to slow it down and move it back and forth, and so much technology available. And that angle provided them with the look they needed. we share that with you because they're taking feeds from the home team and the visiting team, and there are different spots that those camera operators are. It may be a difference of 5 or 6 feet, but it does provide different angles. One ball and 2 strikes to Garrett Jones.
Well, give Jonathan Pettibone some credit there. He got himself into some trouble. The drop ball at first base creates more trouble. Falls behind Giancarlo Stanton, 3-0. Comes back and throws a good pitch away. Gets a ground ball. Chase makes a great play up the middle. It was a big effort by a number of people to create that play. And then, again, not to beat him up, but I thank Ozuna for making that slide.
Sure.
Because if he slides directly into the bag, I don't think there is a replay.
I agree. 1-2 pitch to Jones. Foul ball. It remains 1-2. There's Marcell Ozuna.
So thank you, Marcell. Probably won't make that mistake again.
Somebody probably would remind him or talk to him about it when they see the replay.
Well, as many replays that have been thrown out there, I'm sure that I wasn't the only person that noticed that.
Ruiz sets up inside. Swing and a miss and a changeup. He gets Jones for the second time tonight on that same pitch. 4 strikeouts for Pettibone.
He's thrown that changeup back to back, and Jones has seen it. Actually, he's seen 4 of them tonight in 9 pitches. He has not been able to make the adjustment to it. So if he's not going to make the adjustment, keep throwing it. Or if he's going to chase it, make him chase it further off the plate.
There's Casey McGee. McGee bounced it into an inning-ending fielder's choice his first time. And it's 0-1.
Another great changeup, and that ball was actually, it was up in the zone, but it had a lot of late movement, out of the bottom of the zone. But what sells that pitch is arm speed.
Do hitters ever talk to you about how enticing that pitch looks when it's coming in?
Oh yeah, and you love when hitters give you feedback, especially opposing hitters, telling you that they can't decipher the difference between the fastball and the changeup.
2-2.
It just gives you more confidence.
I mean, we saw Jonathan for 18 games last year. This is as good a changeup I think we've seen. I don't know if he's throwing it differently. Out toward right center field. It's not deep. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, Braves lead the Nationals 4-1. Last night it was Justin Upton. Tonight it's B.J. Upton. He's 2 for 2 with a home run. The Braves have pitched very well. Yeah, they're starting to hit some home runs too. So they're in the bottom of the second.
Being able to use that changeup like Jonathan has tonight, it just makes his fastball better. And right there you saw where he tied McGehee up with a fastball, and he just hit a little flare to Marlin in right field. So they each, they help each other. Those pitches help each other.
Outside, 2-0 to Saltalamacchia. And a line drive base hit to center. And Tony Gwynn will get there. And Saltalamacchia has a 2-out single. Jeff Baker's due up. Baker struck out looking his first time up. He was not in the original starting lineup. Derek Dietrich, who hit a home run last night for the Marlins, was in the lineup and came down with back spasms after batting practice. I guess the correct assessment was back tightness. They're not sure whether he's available to pinch hit or not as the night goes on. And a line drive caught by Chase Utley. Side is retired. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left for the Marlins. We play 2.5 here in Philadelphia. The top of the order is due up when we return. The ballpark that are 14 and under receive the commemorative baseball, honoring 10 years of baseball here at Citizens Bank Park. Tickets are still available by going to Phillies.com. Weather's supposed to be great. Look forward to seeing you here at the ballpark. Also tomorrow, it's our first Sunday with Schmidt. Mike Schmidt will join us up here in the booth, and he is in the yard, and he's sitting next to Greg Murphy. Murph, take it away.
That's right. He's doing his homework tonight as he gets ready for Sundays with Schmidt tomorrow, which everybody is excited about, mostly us. A chance for us to get to work with you and a chance for you to work with Tom and Jamie tomorrow. I'm sure you're looking forward to it, are you not?
Oh, I sure am. Yeah, I hope I can live up to the billing that you just gave me. Yeah, I am. Jamie and I had a nice chat for about an hour earlier today. The Sundays with Schmidt ideas is going to be more of a lighthearted, fun storytelling, compare back in the day to today, that kind of stuff. We'll have a lot of fun.
I'm sure you have some stories to tell, no doubt about it. Let me ask you this, though, because you just got a chance to see replay for the first time with your own eyes. What'd you think? Obviously a big moment for the Phils. It worked in their favor. What do you think of the process?
Young Aaron Boone has been sitting up here with me. We've been talking some ball, and he said he thought for sure they got it right, and then we showed it back here, and we watched replay here for about 2 minutes over and over and over, and we still couldn't figure out what happened. But it's amazing how the atmosphere of the crowd changed when they called him out. When they called him safe, they were booing, and all of a sudden everybody stood on the field, and then they finally called him out, and then all is well. But there's a nice hit right there. That's one of the problems with it, is an upside and a downside. They get the plays right, but it surely slows down the game.
Well, it makes you appreciate how hard the job is for that umpire, does it not?
Well, plays like that are definitely hard, yeah, without question. So they get it right.
All right, well, Mike, we are certainly looking forward tomorrow in the booth for the first time, Sundays with Schmidt, all 9 innings, and you'll have that kind of analysis all 9 innings. We're looking forward to it. Tom, we'll send it back to you right now.
All right, Murph, thank you. Schmitty, we are looking forward to having you up there. Got your golf shirt all ready to go. We're going to wear gray tomorrow, just in case anybody's wondering. I know some care, some don't.
I'm looking forward to it. Listen to some of the stories he's got to tell.
Jimmy Rollins grounds that one to the right side. It's picked up on the glove side by Baker. And Gwynn moves up to second. Well, I think that's the part of it, with you in the booth, when Matt's in the booth, and obviously with Mike, because he has such a history with this great organization, is just the storytelling. I mean, you got Larry Bowa in the dugout. Mike Schmidt probably has more stories than anybody about Larry Bowa as a ball player, because they stood next to each other for so long. He watched Ryan Sandberg as a young player get traded off to the Cubs. He hit a home run against you. It's still rolling down the street in Chicago.
It's still going in Chicago.
Well, the other thing, too, which I think really stands out with Schmitty, who used to stand out with Robin Roberts, even though they've been removed from the game as a player for so long, they still watch the game and they're engaged in the game, too.
So you can see their passion for the game. They enjoy the game and they respect the game. And I think that's really, really, really cool.
Well, runner at second with one man down here in the bottom of the third. And Chase Utley, the hitter. Utley doubled his last time up. And he picked up his 8th RBI. He's hit in 9 straight games.
What I noticed with Eovaldi, even in the first inning, the Phillies scored 2 runs. I didn't sense any panic with him. Just give me the ball back. I'm going to continue to make good pitches and get out of the first inning. Just giving up 2 runs, but he's back at it pitching. And you see a lot of young kids or younger players when they come to the big leagues, they get into that duress situation, and all of a sudden they become somebody they're not, and it goes from bad to worse. And they, after the fact, they wonder what happened. And really what happens is the game speeds up around them, and then they try to speed up to that and can't keep up with it.
Utley pulls it. That's a fair ball over the bag down the right field line off the half wall, and that takes the Phillies bounce as Gwynn will score, and Utley will pull in the second with his second double of the night. It's a 3-1 ball game. Doubles now for Chase Utley, and his average just keeps on climbing in the early going.
You see Chase squares up a fastball and pulls it down the line. This guy is some kind of fun to watch right now, isn't it? This is amazing.
There were maybe spurts last year where he was hitting the ball hard, but dare I say, this is as good as he's looked in quite some time. I mean, he's really squaring the ball up.
And not only is he, taking care of the offensive side, the defensive side just continues to be Chase Utley. There's steady Chase.
There's a ground ball that's going to find its way into right center field for Howard. Utley will score. It's an RBI single, and it's a 4-1 ball game. Well, that time the shift didn't work for the Marlins. Ryan didn't hit it all that hard, but he hit it where the shift wasn't.
Well, he hit a slider that stayed on the plate. He just pretty much stayed with it. Really didn't try to do too much with it. And actually, it looked like he was almost trying to hit the ball back through the middle. Nice swing by Ryan. Again, not trying to do a whole lot with it. It's a slider that stayed on the plate. Like I said, looked like he just tried to hit it back through the middle.
Was that the pitch that they called him out on in his last at bat?
That one was up.
Marlon Byrd, the hitter. Marlon takes low.
And when I mean up, it was in the upper quadrant of the strike zone. That ball had some bite to it. It was down, and he stayed right on it. Hit it actually where second baseman's standing right now.
Outside, 2-0.
And the difference last night when Fernandez got into trouble, remember the bases were loaded? He had no strikeouts to that point. He went strikeout, strikeout, strikeout to end that inning, and then struck out the side the next inning. Yeah. Eovaldi hasn't been able to do that tonight.
Yeah, even though he's got a 96-mile-an-hour fastball, he only has 2 strikeouts. Still hasn't walked anybody. But he hasn't been able to get that fastball by the hitters.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I've been on some teams where we've had some power pitchers in our rotation. And what our manager, it was actually in Seattle, and what Lou Piniella would try to do, he would take a power guy, and then he'd put somebody like myself in between the next 2 power guys, put a finesse guy in the middle, so hitters didn't see the same type of pitcher 2 days in a row.
3 balls and 2 strikes. Well, then when you had you and John Halama, right? He would start. So he would go, let's say, 2 guys away from you.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And I didn't really, at the time, I didn't really see the value in that. But I think now, seeing it from this perspective, I see how it could have a value. And it also takes guys. Managers like to bring certain guys in the lineup, in and out of the lineup, based on the pitcher. You may take a lefty out of a lineup and give a righty a chance to play, or vice versa. When Randy Johnson pitched, they usually took, if not all the lefties out, most of the lefties out of a lineup and put 8 or 9 righties in the lineup. Unless there was a lefty that had particularly swung the bat well off him.
Another foul ball by Bird. It remains 3-2. And a line drive foul, this time the left side.
Yeah, the Phillies are getting some pretty good swings on some of those fastballs. It's really good to see. And you see a lot of the pitchers like Eovaldi or Fernandez, who we saw last night, come up and pitch, and they don't have a changeup. They don't have something soft to go to.
Now it's back toward the middle off the mound. Echeverria very quick around the second base bag. Side is retired, a double play, but the Phillies score 2 more. A 9-pitch at bat by Marlon Byrd wraps up the 3rd. We'll head to the 4th. Go further. By AT&T, mobilizing your world. And by the Pennsylvania Lottery, benefits older Pennsylvanians every day. Top of the 4th inning. It's 4-1. Phillies are on top. We go to the top of the 4th. We saw Ryan Howard get that base hit. I asked you about the pitch that he hit, and you correctly described that it was a little different than the first at bat. On the left side is the first at bat. The right side is the second at bat.
When you see the first at bat right here, the ball was up, and then I wasn't quick enough there. The second at bat, the ball was down,
right?
And Ryan just stayed with it. He had seen that pitch before, but the first one kind of hung, was kind of a cement mixer. The second one he stayed with and hit the ball back right up through the middle.
That ball was smoked off the body of Pettibone, and they're not going to be able to get Echeverria. That hit him right in the side. At least it looked like it hit him right in the side. Scott Sheridan and Ryan Sandberg both going out to check him out.
Yeah, it did hit him in the side, but you see how he finished there. He almost finished. His mechanics forced him to finish almost with his back to the hitter. And when a ball's hit back at you, it's really hard to react to that.
The great Jim Cott used to talk about that. You know, when I've asked him about Gold Gloves, he'd say that a lot of it was his mechanics, that he finished in a position where he'd face the hitter and he could field his position well.
Well, and a lot of it sometimes is just self-defense.
Right.
You can get out of the way, or you can throw your glove up. There, Jonathan, it was the self-defense was, just kind of keep your back to it, because he was in no man's land. He really couldn't do anything. Couldn't react to the ball. It was hit so hard.
Yeah, the ball jumped on him pretty fast, so he'll throw a few here. He says he's good. So he'll let him continue with a 4-1 lead here in the top of the fourth. I think there's going to come a point where they're going to move Echeverria from the 8-hole, because at least in these 2 games he's hit the ball pretty hard.
Yeah. You've seen 3 pitches tonight, 2 of which were fastballs, and he hit both of them quite hard. 1 to left field and 1 back at Jonathan Pettibone.
So Evaldi's up. He tried to sacrifice his last time, but wound up going down on strikes as he bunted the 3rd strike foul. And he bunts this one toward first. Ryan Howard will just tag it. So the sacrifice is successful. 3 unassisted. And Christian Yelich is coming up with a runner at second base. Yelich 2 for 2. His average now at .324. He now has 3 hits in the series. Breaking ball, and that's 0-1.
Seems as if the game's going on. It looks like Jonathan's kind of settling in, kind of getting his feet underneath him, and looks like he's got a little bit better command of the strike zone.
And honestly, the first couple of innings, the pitches were just missing off the outer edge. I mean, nothing against Lance Barksdale, but another umpire, they would have been strikes. Another one they wouldn't have been, but it depends on who's behind the plate.
Sometimes it's the luck of the draw.
And he has been consistent with it.
He has. He's always been a very consistent umpire, too.
1 ball and 1 strike to Yelich. And a line drive towards center field. Wind's coming on. He makes the catch. And that will be an easy double play. That ball was smashed by Yelich, and it just hung up there. Side is retired. We go to the bottom of the fourth. The Phillies lead it by 3. you don't have to wait in line at the concession stand. W.B. Mason has an all-star lineup of snacks and beverages that keep your break room stocked. Last of the fourth, Dominic Brown leads it off. Brown flied out to left. He flied out to the warning track his first time. And it'll be Brown, Carlos Ruiz, and Freddie Galvis here in the fourth. Dominic takes outside, 1 ball and no strikes.
Really enjoying watching Eovaldi pitch. It's the first time I've seen him pitch in person. I just like the freedom that he has with his arm. The ball just jumps out of his hand.
And what you said before, the average fastball being 96 plus, he's pretty much been around that neighborhood freely here tonight. Breaking ball, and it's 2-2. And also what you talked about, the changeup, having to be able to throw a third pitch. He has been trying to work on that, but that has been one of his issues as he's tried to mature as a big leaguer. 12 games under 500 as a pitcher.
Well, until you have some success, visual success, and you see hitters react to it, you're not going to have confidence with it. So at some point, you're going to have to use it in a game.
And a called strike 3. 3 strikeouts for Eovaldi. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. By Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. By Budweiser, here's to Budweiser, here's to baseball. And by Toyota. Toyota's #1 for everyone sales event is going on now. Toyota, let's go places. Carlos Ruiz 0 for 1. Carlos overall hitting .229, no home runs, no RBIs. This is the same kind of drought RBI-wise that he had last year when he came back off his suspension. Took him 16 games to pick up his first RBI in 2013, and well, we're 10 games now, 11 into the season, and he still is looking for his first RBI this year.
Well, knowing Carlos, I'm sure he's not overly concerned about it. I'm sure he's aware of it. Think about it. A couple of games he hit in the top part of the lineup. He did a great job getting the offense started. He was a catalyst in that respect. And he didn't have situations to drive people in. Now he's in the lower part of the lineup, again, doing his job. And his main job is handle the pitching staff. And I think he understands that. He knows that. Of course, he wants to get his hits and he wants to get his RBIs. But handling a pitching staff is really, really important. And if you have that guy behind the plate that can do that, the rest will come.
Well, and to your point, he has scored 9 runs this year, which as far as this lineup goes, he's the leader.
And hence he was in the top of the lineup hitting in front of who? Chase Utley. Right?
That's right. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Breaking ball up high, 1-2.
So his value is huge. It's been huge. Not only does he hit in the 8-hole and protect in that position, he's able to hit in the 2-hole. He's able to handle the pitching staff, and he'll hit for some power. You can move him around the lineup. When we saw him in spring training, he hit fourth a couple times, did he not?
He did it, yep. It seems like it's just a matter of time before he breaks out and picks up that first RBI and that first home run. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Ruiz. Ground ball to second. And that'll bring Freddie Galvis to the plate. Freddie popped out his first time up. Takes a breaking ball. toward left. Yelich wasn't playing all that deep. He can't see it, but he recovers and makes the catch. Side is retired in order. It's the second time tonight the Phillies have gone down 1-2-3. We've completed our first 4. Yeah, the lights, they can be tricky. And Yelich somehow found a spot where the lights weren't a factor. It took till the end, but he was able to reel it in. Trivia question. Answer. All right, JB, here's the question. What player holds the single-season Marlins record for most plate appearances in a season with 748?
Was it an outfielder?
It was an outfielder. See, that's going to help you because you could have asked if it was a second baseman or an outfielder, but it was an outfielder.
I'm going to just throw out a name. I have no idea. I'm going to throw out a name. Juan Pierre.
Juan Pierre is correct.
No way.
It is, Nate. Back in 2004. I thought maybe you would go Luis Castillo, just because those guys sort of fed off each other at the top of the Marlins order.
Honestly, I didn't even think of Luis Castillo. The only person I thought of was Juan Pierre.
I was trying to get you to Luis Castillo. Juan Pierre is correct. Juan played for the Marlins last year after playing for the Phillies 2 years ago. Swing and a miss. It's 0-2. Log back on to Phillies.com to find out if you're the winner of a Phillies prize pack. And thanks for playing Jeep Stump the Fans.
I like that little bell. I'm starting to like that noise.
You guys have gotten a lot of the bells. It's like a history lesson every single night trying to figure out the right answer. We're going to ease you and Matt out of the answers, though, soon, I think. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Ozuna.
But I will say that was a guess tonight.
No help from anybody?
No help.
Swing and a miss. 1 out. That's 5 strikeouts for Pettibone. Well, it's a good guess because, you know, Pierre was such a pain in the neck. Wonderful guy, but such a pain in the neck for the opposition for so many years, particularly with the Marlins.
He sure was. He sure was. Actually, anywhere he played.
Giancarlo Stanton is 1 for 2. His fielder's choice was a big play in this game back in the second. For a moment, the Marlins had taken a 3-2 lead. But then the play was overturned after replay. Jimmy Rollins was able to beat Marcell Ozuna to the bag at second to finish up that inning. That one is hit a ton. Where is it going to land? Wow. Onto Ashburn out. That is a big man hitting a big home run. And it's a 4-2 ball game.
I I know that feeling facing him. Wow. I was just going to comment. I love the first 2-pitch sequence. Changeup down and in for a ball, fastball down and in for a ball, and then he threw a changeup that he left up over the plate. And it's a different sound off of his bat, huh?
It sure is. Look out below. I mean, look how far that went out to Ashburn Alley. We've seen a number of home runs hit out there. Well, I shouldn't say a number. We've seen a handful. Look at those guys. They're like, it almost hit my head. It's brushed right past my head. Well, that is well over 400 feet. And it's a 4-2 game for Stanton. That's his 3rd home run. Look, I think it hit that gentleman right on the head. Look, he's pointing to the bush on top of his head. All right, watch it. See if you can see where it hits him. Ready? Oh, it did. Well, fortunately he's okay, so we can laugh a little bit because they were not expecting that. Garrett Jones out toward left center. And Dominic Brown is there for the 2nd out. All right, 470 feet. That is indeed one of the longest home runs here at Citizens Bank Park.
The best thing about that, there's nobody on base.
Nobody on base.
It's a solo home run, and it's a rally killer. I guarantee if Jonathan Pettibone goes through his career giving up solo home runs, he's going to have a nice career. It's those home runs you give up with guys on base.
Off the hands. That's going to bloop into right center for Casey McGee. That's a 2-out hit with B.J. Rosenberg warming up with the bullpen. So McGee's aboard. That brings Saltalamacchia to the plate. Well, that's not the longest home run that Stanton's hit this year. He hit one down in Florida at Marlins Park. They have a Budweiser sort of party deck out in left center field behind the art sculpture that's out there, and he hit the roof of the Budweiser party deck earlier this season.
Like a block down the street?
Yeah. In Little Havana. 0-1 to Saltalamacchia. He singled. He also walked and scored a run. Broke his bat, slowly hit to shortstop. And Rollins will throw across the diamond and get Saltalamacchia. Side is retired. Pettibone is through 5. He allows a monster home run to Giancarlo Stanton, but still has a 2-run lead. start. It's also a Hatfield Dollar Dog Night at Citizens Bank Park. 2-game series. You can order your tickets by going to Phillies.com. Well, Jonathan Pettibone is due to lead off the bottom of the 5th inning, but he's got his jacket on in the dugout, so his night is going to be done after 5 innings. And Cody Ashley's going to come up to be the pinch hitter. Thought maybe they'd let him stretch for one more. His pitch count was pretty manageable considering he only threw 90 pitches in his last outing. And he's at 80 pitches right now. So Justin DeFreitas is warming in the bullpen, not B.J. Rosenberg. Rosenberg was up. 49 strikes, 80 pitches overall, 5 innings. He scattered 8 hits and 5 strikeouts. And Cody Ashley will lead it off here in the bottom of the 5th. Takes a pitch inside. It's 1-0. Ashley pulls that one to the right side. Baker low to the ground to his left. Well, a nice start for Pettibone to begin the 2014 season here in the big leagues. And now it's up to the Phillies bullpen to get 12 outs. Tony Gwynn Jr. is 2 for 2. He's doubled. He's also singled. And a fastball over for a strike. One of the stats that I think jumps out about Eovaldi this year is one we pointed out at the beginning. He's only walked one batter this season in 17 innings of work, 17 and a third. Now, his last 3 years of the big leagues, he's averaged walk per 9 innings, 3.5. So this year, it's less than 1 per 9 innings. And, I mean, that's the sort of the maturation of a young pitcher.
Yeah,
too.
and you can sense that he has far more confidence in his stuff now. He understands what it can do and the effect that it can have if he's around the plate and throwing strikes early in the count. And as he gets deeper in the count, he doesn't have to throw as many strikes, or he can elevate the ball. He threw a pitch earlier and struck out Dominic Brown with a 98-mile-an-hour fastball down and in on his knees.
Out toward left. Long run for Yelich. Look out, everybody. And it's out of play. Our area's most respected weather team. Count on Hurricanes, Sheena, and Bill for complete weather coverage. Watch NBC 10 First Alert Weather. Count on it.
When you're throwing more strikes, your defense is going to play better behind you. When you're not walking guys. And that's when you tend to get yourself in trouble, is when you're walking guys, your pitch counts elevate, you're pitching under duress, and things tend to go a little haywire.
Well, that was a pitcher's pitch right there for a called strike 3. You want this as a pitcher, don't you, Jim?
Oh, of course you do. It's nowhere near the strike zone.
No, it wasn't. Yeah, that looked like it was a ball. Rollins, the batter, takes a fastball. It's 0-1.
They're only human.
We'll talk to Schmitty about that tomorrow, about the umpires behind the plate. He's got some ideas. Garrett Jones lets that one roll up his arm somewhat, but he flips to Eovaldi covering. So Eovaldi's now retired 7 consecutive batters. We played 5. We go to the 6th inning. It's time for the Phillies bullpen. getting started on his 12th career season with the Phillies. Out of spring training and into the fire, Chase has come out pounding the ball to start the 2014 campaign. In just the first week, his 2 home runs, a .458 average, 11 hits, and 5 for extra bases, including his 300th career double, is the exact production Ryne Sandberg is looking for from Utley's location in the lineup. The chase for success has started early, and it's brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. Live fearless. Well, the Phillies lead it 4-2. We're going to the top of the 6th inning here at Citizens Bank Park. And they're having a Phillies ball girl reunion on a night when Jonathan Pettibone made his first Major League start of 2014. 5 innings, pretty good.
He the ball very well. Effectively, hugely effective with his changeup tonight. Allowed his defense to play behind him, and he made some really good pitches with his changeup. You see one right there to Jones, a strikeout. Another ball there to Ozuna. I think Jonathan's got to be very pleased with his performance tonight, and now he has something to build off of.
He got hit with a line drive by Echeverria at one point during the course of the game, so the Phillies lift him after 5. Pitch count wise, he was at 80 pitches, but they were content to go get him and bring Justin DeFreitas into the game. And DeFreitas will face the bottom of the Marlins order. It'll be Jeff Baker to start it off, then Echeverria in the pitcher spot. Eovaldi's in pretty good shape pitch count wise. First pitch by DeFreitas is in there for a strike. It's 0-1. Baker's 0 for 2. He struck out looking. He's lined out to second. Baker way out in front of that slider from DeFreitas.
I kind of like the way he's coming after these guys here. Obviously, he was watching the first 5 innings of games and saw the effectiveness of Jonathan Pettibone's changeup. That curveball, just like kind of the same speed as Pettibone's changeup. Different shape to it, but it's a soft pitch, and you got Jeff Baker out in front.
So he's ahead 1 ball and 2 strikes. Last night the Phillies bullpen allowed just 1 run in relief of A.J. Burnett as the Phillies won that game. Swing and a miss. He got it. I don't think he threw 1 fastball during that at bat.
He didn't. The hitter's got to be saying he's going to throw me a fastball. He's got to throw me a fastball. He's got to throw me a fastball. All you have to do is locate it down. It's easier said than done. Echeverria threw 4 great pitches there. Good curveball.
Carlos Marmol is warming in the bullpen for the Marlins. With 1 out here in the top of the 6th inning, Echeverria is 2 for 2. Takes a breaking ball, and it's 0-1. Eovaldi is out in the on-deck circle for the Marlins. Ball, and it's 0-2. It's kind of an interesting tact. 6 straight breaking pitches. What do you do? Do you throw another one?
Sure.
Make it. Just try to not make it a good one.
It's a chase pitch right here. Make it short. Bounce it on the plate.
Did throw another one. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes to Echeverria.
I think if you threw Echeverria a fastball in the dark, you turn the lights off in the stadium, throw him a fastball, he might still have a good chance of hitting it.
Stays soft then. There's a fastball outside, 2-2. As far as the Phillies bullpen is concerned tonight, Ryne Sandberg said before the ball game that he didn't think that Jake Diekman was available. Through 2/3 last night. Big spot in that game. He's worked in a lot of games already this year. Check swing. Did he go? No. Boy, that looked like a pretty good pitch even before the check.
I thought maybe it should have been a called strike.
Thought it was a better pitch than the one they called Gwynn out on in the bottom of the 5th. They'll try a fastball toward the outer half, it looks like. That one's hit sharply to second. Utley to his right. 2 outs. Eovaldi's coming up. Let's check in with Murph. Murph?
All right, thanks a lot, Tom. We'll get you caught up on some of the guys that are working their way back towards the major leagues. First and foremost, Cole Hamels pitched today for Clearwater against Lakeland. He went 6 innings. He allowed 6 hits, just 1 run. He had 6 strikeouts and 10 ground ball outs, which is certainly a good thing for him. And Mike Adams also pitched for the Lehigh Valley tonight. He went 1 inning. He allowed 2 hits, 1 earned run. He didn't walk anybody, struck out 1. He threw 21 pitches, 14 of them for strikes. And now the most important thing at this point will be how they feel tomorrow. And we'll give you an update on that. Then hopefully those guys will be back up in Philadelphia pretty soon.
Well, that's good news, Murph. We appreciate that. 21 pitches, 14 strikes for Mike Adams. 0-1 the count to Eovaldi. 0-2. Boy, Cole's got to be pretty happy about 6 innings and all those ground ball outs that Murph was talking about.
Yeah, it's no walks. That's a big plus. You know, whether it's the minor leagues, and you can't. It's hard to set up hitters in the minor league. So, no walks is important. Force him to put the ball in play. He's going to have to do that here. And obviously, we're hoping that tomorrow he's feeling good, which I'm sure he will be.
You still think one more start before he comes back? Maybe not.
Well, it might not be, but I think I don't know how much they're leaning on him for his feedback. It'd be interesting to find out how many pitches he threw tonight. If he only threw 70-some pitches, I think he probably should have another start, just to stretch out a little bit further.
There's a bloop to right field, and that's going to be a base hit for Eovaldi. So Eovaldi's aboard with 2 outs, and it's going to bring Yelich to the plate. Yelich is 2 for 3. He has singled twice. He also lined into a double play. Inside. And it's 1 ball and no strikes. Jimmy, by the way, Carl Graber, our statistician, is researching the longest home runs here at Citizens Bank Park. He's all over the place. He's got Evan Gattis last year, 486 in September. Stanton hitting 470. It's yeoman's work by you, Carl, to find all that. 486. It was far. I mean, it was a shot by Gattis, sort of to the left of where Stanton's went. Mario Hollins is warming up.
Wow, 486.
Yeah, it's all unofficial, but there's different websites that kind of gauge the distances of home runs. There's the 1-1 pitch to Yelich. Outside. Jared Saltalamacchia hit one that was 466 in 2012. I don't remember that one.
Pretty soon they're going to have little meters inside the ball. That's going to tell you how far they go, how fast they are, how fast it comes off the bat.
Somebody may have that already in development. Jim Thome and Ryan Howard have each hit long ones here, of course. There's a liner out towards second, caught into the air by Chase Utley, and the side is retired. No runs, 1 hit. 1 man left for the Marlins. We've played 5.5. Chase will lead it off for the Phillies when we come back in the bottom of the 6th. University Hospitals. Call 1-800-JEFF now for an appointment. By Delaware Valley Honda. Visit your local Delaware Valley Honda dealer or shophonda.com. And by McDonald's. I'm loving it. Oh, we're loving this night here at the ballpark. Seems like the temperature will turn the page. We're finally into spring and we're heading to summer. Got a beautiful day here in the Delaware Valley. Phillies will have Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, and Marlon Byrd to lead it off. 3, 4, and 5. Phillies so far with 4 runs on 6 hits. The Marlins 2 runs on 9 base hits.
Anxious to see how they're going to pitch Chase right here. Seen a lot of fastballs tonight. He's got back-to-back doubles.
There's so much video. They're obviously seeing what we're seeing, that he's on every fastball that's being thrown. They throw a fastball outside, 1-0. Got some American Legion numbers going right now.
Yes, he does. Off a pretty quality pitcher. Actually seen a number of quality pitchers.
Breaking ball, 2-0.
Samardzija, Fernandez, Eovaldi.
He certainly hasn't lacked for velocity. Guys with velocity.
Yeah, I think Chase likes that. He's not going to back away from that.
Fouls it back, and it's 1-1. Or excuse me, 2-1. Last 6 games counting tonight. Chase is 12 for his last 21. It's that one sharply to the right side. Jones will flip to Eovaldi, covered. Eovaldi now has quietly settled down and retired the last 8 hitters. And that'll bring Ryan Howard up.
Took a little off that to get Chase out. It was only 96. Whereas the previous fastballs were 97.
Well, he's 78 pitches into this ball game, and he still has a velocity that's, in a pretty good range here. Very good range.
And here's a kid that came off of Tommy John surgery in 2007. The thing that strikes me funny, you had mentioned earlier, in 2008 he was drafted by the Dodgers. So a year after surgery, he was drafted, and he wasn't even pitching.
It's all about the projections.
Pretty phenomenal.
Well, and I guess because the Tommy John surgery is so prevalent in baseball, teams are comfortable that guys will come back. But he's coming back, throwing in the high 90s.
What they say is the reason guys come back throwing harder is because of the rehab. Most guys aren't doing that kind of work as arm maintenance, and after they have the surgery, they have to do it to come back. And all of a sudden, they haven't pitched in a year. They've got a new elbow or a new ligament in their elbow, and they've rehabbed for a year, and they've now created arm strength, and a lot of it is in the shoulder. And when I had my surgery done, Dr. Alchek in New York was saying that the reason that the elbow goes out is because there's a weakness in the shoulder.
Here's the 2-1 to Howard, and that's a strike 2-2. Well, speaking of that, Dr. James Andrews has come out over the last couple of days, and he's sort of taken year-round baseball to task. People asked his opinion, why are there so many Tommy John surgeries? Why are there 2 Tommy John surgeries happening for some pitchers, like a Chris Medlin and Brandon Beachy and people like that? And his opinion, and I think there are probably people that agree with this, is that kids are not getting any downtime to rest. They're throwing from the mound almost 365 days a year.
I would agree wholeheartedly. I think your better athletes are the ones that play multiple sports. You keep the freshness of different sports. There's an excitement to go play that new sport, especially when you're younger, and you don't go through that same repetition. And that's where the injuries start to come into play.
Howard hits it down the left field line, slicing toward the pole. Yelich on the run. He slides and he makes the catch. What a play by Christian Yelich. He went sliding into foul territory and picked that one right off his leg. 2 outs. It's a big time play right here.
He knew where the wall was and didn't want to run into it. Timed it perfectly and slid right into it. Nice catch.
And Kerwin Danley signals out. Here's Marlon Byrd with 2 away. Marlon lines it the other way. Stanton comes in, makes the one-handed catch, and that'll do it for the Phils here in the 6th inning. Their lead is at 2. We'll go to the 7th. Ozuna, Stanton, and Jones when we come back. It's time now for your local Honda dealer's game summary. We saw some of the highlights that were a big part of this ballgame. Phillies got 2 RBI doubles. That play at second, though, in the 2nd inning is probably the biggest point of this game right now.
Most definitely is, and it kept a potential big inning to a minimal inning for the Marlins and allowed the Phillies to add on.
Jonathan Pettibone went 5 innings for the Phils, allowed 1 earned run. That ball is lined sharply past Freddie Galvis, and Marcell Ozuna's aboard with a leadoff single. These lucky fans are tonight's Citizen 7. They will receive a prize pack courtesy of Citizens Bank. Citizens Bank with the most 7-day branches in the Philadelphia area. Find a branch near you. Visit citizensbank.com. Giancarlo Stanton hit a 470-foot home run in his last at bat. That one is a bullet, and it is gone. And we're tied up at 4. 2-home run game for Stanton. It's a 4-4 ball game here in the top of the 7th inning. That man is just so strong.
Oh, fastball that's just on the plate. First pitch fastball. And that was a line drive and a get out of here in a hurry.
Amazing. He has 121 home runs in 501 games. It's his 10th career multi-home run game, and just like that, we're tied up at 4 here in the top of the 7th. And Justin DeFreitas will head off the field, and it's a brand new ball game here in the 7th between the Phillies and the Marlins. Mario Hollins will be the new pitcher for the Phils. We'll tell you about his numbers when we return. Back in the 5th inning, this was a delivery, 470 feet. That was impressive just in the way it traveled. This one was impressive with how fast it got out of the ballpark.
It'd be interesting to put a timer on it, see how quickly it got out.
Well, those are W. Mason deliveries of the game. Remember that old cartoon with the baseball screaming as it left the ballpark? That baseball was screaming right there as it left the ballpark off the bat of Giancarlo Stanton. Well, it's a 4-4 game, and now Mario Hollins will come on to face Garrett Jones. Bases are empty here in the top of the 7th. And Hollins bends back Garrett Jones. It's 1-0. Mario's numbers in 5 games. I know we seem like we're getting in love with the distance, but that one was 385, and if those seats in that part of the stadium wasn't there, it would have just kept on going in the air.
There might not be a seat where that ball hit.
Yeah. Fastball high, 2-1. So Justin DeFreitas' line is complete. 1+ inning, 3 hits, 2 runs. Ground ball to first. Hollins has got to get over there to cover, and he does. And here comes Casey McGee. Well, in reality, what Eovaldi has done to the Phillies offense is kind of set this up, because the Phillies haven't managed a whole lot against him over the last 3 innings.
Yeah, he's kind of slowed the Phillies down a little bit, kind of settled in himself. As we talked about Fernandez last night, trying not to strike so many people out. It's kind of what Eovaldi has done over the course of this game.
Breaking ball low, it's 1-0. Casey McGee singled his last time. He's 1 for 3. A fielder's choice, a fly ball to right. Ground ball toward the middle. To his left is Rollins. He has time. I know Jimmy made that error the other day at shortstop, but he is moving really well. out at that position in the early part of this season.
He is. It's nice to see him have the range that he has. I know people have talked about as he's gotten older, he's maybe lost a little bit of range, but I think it's okay to lose range. You just have to defend, to put yourself on the field in different locations to maybe get to the balls that, balls that you used to be able to get to, you might not be able to get to. So now you have to cheat one way or another based on your pitcher making his pitch.
Yeah, in that case, he was cheating toward the middle a little bit. Whereas now he's probably, I guess you would call straight away, maybe a half a step toward the hole at shortstop.
Well, and I think some of it, too, is knowing the hitters in the league. I think that's important, too. Having the ability to play in front of Cal Ripken in my earlier career in Baltimore, he really knew the hitters, and he would, as you say, I'd cheat, to the pull side or up the middle, and it would allow him to get the balls that maybe he normally wouldn't have gotten to.
Well, Jimmy would have needed a ladder to get to that one right there, and that's a base hit for Salton Lamacchia. He's aboard with 2 outs. And that'll bring Jeff Baker up for the 4th time. To right field, it's playable for Marlon Byrd. A couple steps from the track, and the side is retired. Another clean inning for Mario Hollins in relief tonight of Justin DeFreitas, who allowed a 2-run home run to tie this ball game up as we stretch going to the bottom of the 7th. Two night games, and then Sunday the 4th is a 3:05 start, a special game time. StubHub Mother's Appreciation Day, a free Derby hat. There is the Derby hat for women 15 and over. Great matchup. Order your tickets now at Phillies.com. Oh, last of the 7th inning. Phillies and the Marlins tied at 4. A.J. Ramos is the pitcher warming up in the bullpen right now for the Marlins. Mike Dunn had been throwing too. Meanwhile, for the Phillies, Antonio Bastardo is throwing in their pen. It'll be Dominic Brown, Carlos Ruiz, Freddie Galvis up against Nate Eovaldi. And Eovaldi has retired 10 consecutive hitters since the RBI single by Ryan Howard in the 3rd to give the Phillies a 4-1 lead.
Well, Tom, we're talking about pitch counts, and Nathan Eovaldi at this point has only had 3 3-ball counts to this point of the game. And as we know, when you can create a lot of deep counts, it elevates a pitch count. So that's why he's starting this inning at 85 pitches.
Now, part of it's him, but also I think part of it is the Phillies are aggressive against him, aren't they, against the fastball?
They have been. And I think that was kind of their approach last night with Fernandez, and it worked early in tonight's game, too. Now 4 3-ball counts.
Here's the 3-1 pitch coming to Brown. And Dominic fouls it away. About to throw pitch number 92. Dominic fouls it away to stay alive. Dominic is 4 for 15 lifetime against Eovaldi, counting his 0 for 2 tonight. And a foul tip and a strikeout. One away here in the 7th. Let's check in with Greg Murphy with the Major League Notebook. Murph?
All right, thanks, Tom. Brought to you by Gwynedd Mercy University, and the St. Louis Cardinals have locked up their senior vice president and general manager, John Mozeliak, to a 2-year contract extension. He's now signed through 2018. He's been with the team for 19 seasons. He's been the general manager since 2008, and in that time, they've gone to 4 playoffs and won 1 World Series, and that is why he got a contract extension. And guys, don't look now, but Clayton Kershaw working his way back from the disabled list. Threw off a bullpen mound today for the first time since he's straining his back. He's been on the disabled list for a little bit. They don't have a timetable for him to return yet, but they are saying that he'll need 1 rehab start before he gets back to the big leagues. The countdown to the Phils ending up in L.A. is 9 days away, so we'll keep you posted on that, guys.
All right, Murph, thank you very much.
Got it.
Where are you at? Out in Ashburn Alley? Is that where you're walking around?
No, down here in the Diamond Club right now.
Oh, totally lost my perspective of where you were. There you are.
I'm pretty much right underneath you guys.
Breaking ball, and it's 1-2 to Carlos Ruiz. Watching some guy behind you eating some ice cream out of a Phillies helmet.
I see it.
Jamie, what kind of ice cream did you have tonight?
I didn't have any.
Really?
I didn't have any last night. We won, so I'm not having any tonight.
Murph, did you have any tonight?
I did not have any tonight.
Ooh, that looks good.
And we won last night, so I won't have any more.
So chocolate Murph, go get a bite. Maybe it's a chocolate chip.
All right. I'll see what I can do. I'll track some down.
2 balls and 2 strikes. And Ruiz fouls it off to the right. You should have just changed your flavor, JB. You should have not had it. You should have changed your flavor.
Well, I know it has nothing to do with the game, but
there are some superstitious folks out there.
I call it stupid-stitious.
But yet you're following along. We love that. Team player.
I had some as a player.
That one's again down the right field line. This will be out of play, and it remains 2-2. What was the most notable superstitious or stupiditious that you had? Did I say that right?
Stupid-stitious.
Stupid-stitious.
In the minor leagues, I always wore the stirrup socks.
Yeah.
And I would never wash my the stirrup sock if I was winning.
Must have been pretty ripe after a while.
Now they got a little hard on the bottom.
Yeah.
Whatever worked.
But when I lost, then I'd either get rid of them or I'd launder them.
For the record, I didn't move out of my spot for 3 innings yesterday when the team was scoring
really?
runs. So yeah, I've got a little superstitious in me too.
Ruiz lines that to left center field. And he's aboard with a 1-out single. First hit for the Phillies since the 3rd.
And now I can't move again.
Murph will be there for the rest of the night. Eovaldi at 100 pitches. Marlins are probably thinking, how much longer do we let him go? Well, He's not going any longer. So Mike Redmond's going to make a double switch. Donovan Solano's going to come in to play second base. And A.J. Ramos, who was warming up in the bullpen, looks like he's going to come into the game for the Marlins in a 4-4 ball game. Phillies have a runner over at first base, and Freddie Galvis is due up. John Mayberry's come out as a pinch hitter. He'll pinch hit for Mario Holland. So a pitching change here at Citizens Bank Park. We'll be back after this. For complete coverage of the day's major stories, breaking news, and weather, watch NBC 10. Count on it. Well, we go to the Marlins bullpen here in the bottom of the 7th inning with a runner at first and one man down. A.J. Ramos will be the new pitcher. He'll take over for Nate Eovaldi. 6th ball game for Ramos. He is a strikeout pitcher.
Well, he's got a... They say he's got a 4-seam fastball. It says it has a natural cut to it. So it kind of, there have been a couple of guys that have had that natural cut, but it's 93 to 98. And he's got a sinker that's supposedly tough on lefties, 88 to 94. Got cutter, backdoor cutter. He also throws it as a chase pitch down in the zone for a strikeout pitch, and he throws a changeup as well.
How odd is it for a 4-seamer to have a natural cut to it?
You don't see that too often. You really don't. I think there was a guy, Markham, with Toronto.
Sean Markham
that had one.
So here's Galvis with one out and a runner at first. Freddie takes on the inside corner. It's 0-1.
And that first pitch at 89's got to seem like a changeup after facing Eovaldi all night.
That is true. Ramos last year pitched in 68 games for the Marlins at an ERA of 3.15 as Mike Dunn warms in the bullpen for the Marlins. I thought that ball was going to hit him.
Man, that ball had some bite on it. Wow.
Some guys would have just put their knee out and taken the hit by pitch. A.J. Ramos is from Lubbock, Texas. Ruiz goes. The pitch is swung on and missed. The throw to second, and Carlos has no chance. Now, Freddie tried to make contact as Ryan Sandberg put him in motion for a possible hit and run.
Great changeup catcher there. Saltalamacchia handles that ball well and gets rid of it quick and gets it down to second. Actually, really no match right there. It was a good exchange by Saltalamacchia.
And you'll never, very rarely will you see Carlos just trying to steal a base. So when he looked back, you knew it was a hit and run, but you assumed it anyway.
Right.
2-2 to Freddie Galvis. And he chops it foul toward the on-deck circle. Freddie is popped out to short, and he's flied out to left. He's 0 for 2.
Almost looks like a split. Like it has the action of a split. That pitch there.
Galvis draws a walk, so that'll bring John Mayberry to the plate. First walk of the night issued by Marlins pitching. Evaldi didn't walk anybody. It's 6 1/3. Mayberry's not had a chance to play as a starter that often this year, but he has been the primary right-handed bat off the bench for the Phillies. Phillies didn't see him that much during the Brewers series because they were trailing so heavily for a good part of it. First pitch to him here. In there for a strike. It's 0-1.
Off the bench, John's put together some really nice at-bats thus far this season. I'm sure Ryan has a lot of confidence in putting him into this situation here.
He has 2 extra base hits as a pinch hitter. A double and a home run. Home run out in Chicago. The double in Texas on opening day. And he's behind, no balls and 2 strikes. Fly ball, shallow right center. Stanton is coming in, and that'll do it for the 7th inning. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 man left. Milwaukee was able to nail Ruiz. That helped the Marlins through this inning. We'll take it to the 8th. .com. Buy WB Mason. You can't go wrong when you buy right. And buy Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Shop at ChooseNissan.com. Top of the 8th inning. We're tied up at 4. And the Phillies will turn it over to Antonio Bastardo. Bastardo takes over for Mario Hollins, who pitches a scoreless inning in relief of Justin DeFreitas. And Bastardo will face Echeverria and then Donovan Solano, who came in as part of a double switch. 6th ball game for Bastardo. his last 2 games, he's had some command issues. And that's why the 5 walks in 5 1/3. Prior to that, through spring training, through the first part of the regular season, he was as good as they come.
Yeah, he flew through spring training, and I think really the maturity you could see the maturity had settled in for him. And I think spring training, I noticed a lot of confidence in Antonio. And as you said, Tom, his 2 previous outings, first batter he's walked, and in both situations come back to haunt him.
I remember the first day that he saw you in spring training. You guys had a pretty cool moment where you guys were chatting with each other. I mean, we all know him because we've been around him. But from a fan standpoint, what kind of guy is he?
He's a very quiet guy, but like I said, I haven't seen him in a couple of years, and just seeing him each and every day here, he comes over and he shakes my hand. He's very polite and very open with me. I really enjoy Antonio, and I remember him coming up here as a young kid and never really wanted to talk to anybody. Was very unsure of himself, and I think he's really matured into a nice young man. And I think he's turned the corner as a pitcher. Just unfortunate his last 2 outings, he's walked the 2 leadoff hitters he's faced.
1-0 pitch to Echeverria, and he takes low. It's 2 balls and no strikes. One thing that you notice is that when he starts to struggle, or let's say if Carlos gets frustrated with him, it didn't happen there, but it'll happen if he gets frustrated. Carlos will take the baseball and he will fire it back to him.
And I think sometimes when he gets a little timid, he starts to nibble a little bit. That's what really gets him into trouble.
3 balls and no strikes to Echeverria.
I think sometimes too, Antonio just doesn't realize how good a stuff he has.
And he just walked him on 4 pitches, so that's the 3rd straight outing that he's walked the leadoff batter. And here's Donovan Solano.
What we talked about earlier tonight about here we go again, the mental side of it. It might be where he is right now. You get behind an account, and then you try a little harder, and you go ball 3. And now, all right, I'm really going to throw a strike here, and you get too aggressive, and you don't make your pitch, and all of a sudden, 4 pitches, you've got your first guy on base.
Solano does not square. He takes a strike. It's 0-1. I thought maybe they would try to do their best to move the runner up to second. I know you don't always do it, but here in the top of the 8th inning, with the top of the order due up after Solano. Swing and a miss, 0-2.
Thank you.
Out towards center field, Tony Gwynn will maneuver to his left, 1 away. Every time the Phillies pitchers retire the opposition 1-2-3, Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports. Phillies have not done that tonight, and they won't do that here in the 8th. Christian Yelich is coming up. He is 2 for 4 in tonight's game.
And the difference I also see with Antonio right now is in spring training he was strike 1. But so far tonight it's ball 1. Big difference.
Huge difference, particularly when you're pitching at this point in the game. So at a Major League scoreboard, the Mets and the Angels are tied at 1. That game's at the bottom of the 2nd. Out in Anaheim, Lucas Duda has hit a home run for New York. 2 balls and no strikes to Yelich. Over toward the right side, diving stop. Utley flips to second for 1, over to first. They won't turn 2, but they got a beauty at second base, and there are 2 outs. Well, that's as good as it gets right there.
Phenomenal how he was able to, first of all, he gets to that ball. He's on his knees. He's got his back to, almost back to Jimmy, and he flips it around the side of his body. Couldn't get a whole lot on it, and I think that was probably the difference in being able to turn the play. But he makes a great stop right here, and with his momentum taking him away from the bag, and he gets the ball to Jimmy. And you got to be sure to get 1 out, and that's exactly what they did for the second out of the inning.
Well, the 2 of them have played 1,078 games together. It's the most among active double play combinations in Major League Baseball.
The key here is you want to get Ozuna out. And this is.
Yeah, because you got a guy swinging the bat right now in the on deck circle.
Yeah. And you don't think Ozuna knows that he wants to throw him a strike right here?
They just called time to move Freddie Galvis over toward the third base line. Heard Larry Bowa's voice yell, "Freddie."
Step and a dive.
Up high, 1 ball and no strikes. This is something new for Bastardo. It's almost like a slide step. The legs, he's barely lifting his leg. I mean, usually he'll lift it up, even with a guy on base.
Well, as Bob McClure talked in spring training, they worked a lot on holding base runners, giving different looks in their pickoff moves. And it really is important to give Carlos an opportunity to throw potential base runners out.
Breaking ball, 1-2. Out towards center, Tony Gwynn is there, and Bastardo is through the 8th inning. No runs, no hits, 1 man left. Go to the bottom of the 8th inning, the top of the order. They've done some damage. They're due up. was a huge part in this ball game. It's a play that was overturned. Originally, the base runner was called safe, and then after replay, Jimmy Rollins realized it right away. So did Larry Bow after looking at it. They overturned it. Instead of the 3-2 Marlins, it remains 2-1 Phillies. That's a huge play in tonight's game.
I believe it's a difference in the game. And when you look at the slide there, I'm going to continue to harp on that slide. Ozuna slid to the side of the bag instead of to the front of the bag, and it made a difference between being out or safe. And potentially a big inning for the Marlins turned into only 1 run scored.
Brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers. Mike Dunn in his 5th ball game. And he'll face the top of the order. Tony Gwynn, Jimmy Rollins, Chase Utley. Phillies have some lefties coming up. Lefties are hitting .500 against Dunn. Time now for our Coors Light Cold Hard Fact. Brought to you by Frostproof Coors Light. Today marks the 10th anniversary of the first game here at Citizens Bank Park. Phillies opened their new home with a 4-1 loss to the Cincinnati Reds. Well, they also went on several years later to win a world championship here. There have been 2 World Series played here at Citizens Bank Park. Tony Gwynn will lead it off. He's 2 for 3 tonight, a double and a single. Takes a strike. It's 0-1. Tony is 3 for 10. Back-to-back breaking pitches. Pretty good slider right there by Dunn.
Dunn's pretty firm. He's pretty firm at 90 to 97 with his fastball. He's got a sinker, upper 80s to low 90s, and a slider that has some depth, a changeup. The cool thing, I think, he's a converted outfielder, turned pitcher.
I didn't realize he did that during the minor leagues. Is that what it was?
Yeah. He has had some problems with control. I think it's because he hasn't been able to repeat his mechanics. We've seen a couple of those guys. Tim Wakefield, converted infielder.
Wynn pulls it to right. Stanton is there. Yeah, there's 1 out. Oh, I mentioned last night that Real Cormier was on hand to throw out the first pitch here tonight. And he did throw it from the mound. It was down. It's good to see Real. See, he would always be able to pay attention. Bob McClure says, keep it down, keep it down. I didn't want to tell him that. I was looking at the weather today. He was talking about having the 4 seasons in Park City, Utah, where he moved. I think he got snow today out in Park City, Utah.
Wouldn't surprise me.
I don't think he'd be upset about it, but there is a storm out in that area. Rollins is 1 for 3, singled homer run in the first and scored a run in the first. Outside, 1 ball and no strikes. Papelbon is up in the bullpen for the Phillies. Let's see what Rollins has done in his last 9 games. So much for fastballs. He's throwing a lot of sliders here.
Sliders.
Back toward the middle, a base hit for Rollins. Right between the legs of Mike Dunn. A 1-out single, and it brings up the Phillies' hottest hitter, and really one of the hottest hitters of the National League, in Chase Utley.
Nice here. Good low fastball. Jimmy just stayed right through it and drove it back through the middle. It's interesting. The first two hitters he faced, sliders to get ahead and fastballs to try to finish him off. And he had success with Gwynn to fly out to right field, and Jimmy hit that one right back through the box.
So it brings up Chase. Chase tonight is 2 for 3, 2 doubles, 2 RBIs, a run scored. He's also grounded out to first. There's a big hole on the right side with Jones holding on Rollins. Breaking pitch over for strike. It's 0-1.
He's got really good command of that slider as well. 5 for 5 in strikes.
Ground ball foul. And it's 0-2. They play Chase to pull on the infield, with Echeverria cheating towards second and Casey McGee off the line at third. Not a surprise. Ozuna plays shallow in center.
He is playing a little shallow. Surprised at that. Nope, now he's moving back a couple steps.
Popped him up. Solano, the second baseman. And now they're 2 outs. Well, Ryan Howard now with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th inning. He's 1 for 3, singled in the 3rd. He picked up his 5th RBI of the year. Ryan sitting at 225. One thing about this matchup, these guys have faced each other a lot, and they're hoping for some bubbles and maybe another rally hat opportunity. Out towards center. It's not that deep. Ozuna comes in, and we're going to go to the 9th inning, all locked up at 4. Phillies do get a base runner, a 1-out single by Jimmy Rollins. He's left. We go to the top of the 9th. It's the Marlins 4 and the Phillies 4. Jonathan Papelbon will be the new pitcher for the Phils in a 4-4 game. And he's going to face Giancarlo Stanton, Garrett Jones, and Casey McGee. Papelbon looked very good last night for the Phils. Fastball topped out at 92 miles an hour in last night's ball game. So this is his 5th game. Overall, he's got 2 saves, 3 opportunities. This, of course, is not a save situation. But he's trying to save a tie and give the Phils offense a chance to win it in the bottom of the 9th inning. Stanton has never had a 3-home run game. He hit one to left center field onto Ashburn Alley in the 5th. And he hit a rocket out of the ballpark in the 7th down the left field line. It's nice of you to offer Jonathan your playlist off your iPod for his new entrance song coming into the yard.
I thought he'd enjoy some of my music.
I'm not even sure if Shazam would be able to figure out what that song was. Here's the first pitch to Stanton. Fastball in there. It's 0-1. Stanton is 3 for 4 in the ball game with 2 homers and a single his first time. First 2 fastballs have been at 93 and 91 for Papelbon. They have the last 3 home run game against the Phillies. Broke his bat. Get rid of that bat. Shallow right center field. Utley makes the catch. Never going to see that bat again after those 2 home runs. That's a good thing.
I'm going to go back and put some tacks in it and use it tomorrow.
So Stanton's retired. Here is Garrett Jones.
You ever do that as a kid?
I've taped it up before.
We used to put tacks in the bat.
The little
brads. I think they call them brads. Yeah.
Sometimes it's tough, you know, if it splits at a certain spot, you try to tack it and it splits even more. We didn't have access to as much equipment as the kids do now when we were kids, right?
No, I hear you.
Out of play, and it's 0-2. I walk into my garage now, and it's like a
sporting goods store.
It's like a sporting goods store. It's a buffet of different bats. When I was in high school, it was probably the same for you. You had the Easton Green or the Easton Magnum. Maybe the Black Magic. That was the black and gold one.
Yeah, I think we had the black and gold and the green. Yeah, that was it.
Time is called. Now,
name it.
I don't know what you do with them after a while.
It's like going to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Quite a selection.
No balls and 2 strikes to Jones. That's where they wanted it. And Jones is struck out 2 away. He's been struck out 3 times in the ball game. I should say that's the height they wanted it. The location might have been off a little bit, but it did its job.
Just a high fastball above his hands. It's underneath that pitch.
Well, McGee is 1 for 4. By the way, in the Phillies half of the 9th inning, it'll be Bird, Dominic Brown, and Carlos Ruiz. Those are the guys due up.
And that high fastball looks so inviting because it's so close to your eyes.
That's a good bite on that pitch. That slider, there's a 10-mile-an-hour difference between what his fastball really is average tonight. Maybe even a little bit more.
He's had very good command of all of his pitches tonight so far.
No balls, 1 strike. Here's the 0-2 pitch to Casey McGee. Outside, 1-2. The slider he's throwing right now is different than the slider he threw last year at the end of the season. Last year was more like a slur where it would start high and finish semi-low. Now it's starting in the strike zone.
To me, he's getting out in front of it, getting his fingers over it.
Try to run a fastball up and in against McGee.
A lot of pitching is timing. I mean, we talk about tempo, but it's timing. When those levers are all working together, the legs, the arms, working around the body, and when you get to your release point, when everything is right and you're able to get your fingers on top of the ball and finish the pitches, you're able to get that extra bite on the ball or on the pitches.
That one he just overthrew a little bit. It's 3-2. I don't know. I don't think that was a fastball. I think it was a split, wasn't it? He overthrew?
Yeah, I don't know, but he did overthrow it.
I say that more because of where the velocity was.
Right.
Ground ball back toward the middle. That's going to be a tough play. Utley surrounds it, throws off balance, and they wouldn't have gotten him anyway. As it skips by Ryan Howard. 2 outs, runner at first. That is what you talked about the other day, though, Ryan going after it with one hand and taking a chance to try to scoop it. McGee does not run all that well, but it would have taken a longer baseline to try to get him because he looked like he was across the bag anyway. But I liked that the other day when you were saying, take a chance as a first baseman and go out and get it.
Right. Don't let it come to you and play you. Go out and try to get it.
Saltalamacchia is the batter.
A lot of times you can read the throw if it's going to be a long hop or a short hop.
Fouled it away. It's 0-1.
And I think some of that too is reading, knowing your field, and is it soft in front of or in the area where it's bouncing, or if it's soft, it's going to die. It's going to hit and die, and if it's firm, it could skip, or it could come up off the ground based on the velocity of the ball coming towards you.
Papelbon got the first 2 batters pretty easily. Stanton popping out, and then the strikeout of Jones. The at bat to McGee, where he was able to work the count full and then reach on the infield single. Now it's 1-1 to Saltalamacchia. Just a little outside and high.
Seems like he's trying to be quite careful with what he's doing. It's almost to the point where he's nibbling a little bit.
Got a little help there. A high fastball. It's 2-2. McGee will be off and running with this 3-2 pitch. 3 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. Greg Dobbs is in the on-deck circle. Didn't see him last night. Pitcher spot is due up next. Marmol and Cishak in the pen for the Marlins. Runner goes. And we'll do it again. Cishak is the closer, so he'll come in if the Marlins happen to take the lead here in the 9th. And Marmol will come in, I guess, if it stays tied. Three-two pitch. Outside, ball 4. It's getting a little tenuous here in the 9th inning. And Greg Dobbs will be the pinch hitter for the Marlins. Greg Dobbs, one of the best pinch hitters the Phillies have ever had. His career numbers 96 pinch hits overall, 10 pinch hit home runs. Phillies' success getting to the postseason, Dobbs was a big part of that success.
He was. And some key hits, spell some guys on occasion, play some decent defense.
Fly ball, shallow center. Rollins going back. He's under it, puts it away, and the side is retired. Right pitch, right time. That splitter toward the outside part of the plate. Dobbs was out in front. No runs, 1 hit, and 2 men left. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning. The Phillies with a chance to win it. Marlon Byrd, Dominic Brown, and Carlos Ruiz due up for the Phillies. Watch NBC 10 First Alert Weather. Count on it. The one thing that they're telling us is that tomorrow is going to be a fantastic day here at Citizens Bank Park. As we go to the bottom of the 9th inning here, the Phillies and the Marlins tied at 4. 4 runs, 13 hits, no errors for the Marlins. 4 runs, 8 hits, 1 error for the Phillies. 0-1 with a 7.20 ERA. Carlos Marmol is, let's just say, an adventure during the course of his career, whether it be with the Cubs, the Dodgers, or now with the Marlins. He has good stuff. A lot of times he's had a difficult time corralling that stuff.
He has. I like this matchup right here. Two former teammates against each other. Hopefully Marlin will have the upper hand here and get something started. Bottom of the 9th inning.
Lefty's hitting .444 against Marmol.
And his past precludes he loves his slider.
And a lot of times can't command his slider.
And he has a pretty good fastball. I'm not sure. Looking back on his past, I don't know that he knew that.
The Phillies have just one win on this 4-game homestead now, 5 games. So they're trying to win this one in their final at bat. They watched the Rangers do it 2 times when we were in Texas. So Marlin 0 for 3. First pitch is outside, 1-0. There's that slider. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. He's got some mechanics that are all over the place. It's almost as if he's leaning down, picking up a big old bag of something and then throwing it over his shoulder.
Picking up the rosin bag behind him.
Yeah. 2-1 now to Bird. Fastball. And it's 2-2. Got him with a slider. 1 out here in the 9th inning. And that'll bring Dominic Brown to the plate. Honestly, that fastball that was called a strike really set this last pitch up.
It sure did. Kind of put Marlin in a hole and makes a real good pitch with the slider right there.
Dominic is hitless in 3 at-bats. He struck out his last 2 times.
Not a whole lot Marlin could do right there with that pitch.
Dominic will be followed by Carlos Ruiz. This crowd of 27,000 plus. Watch the Phillies jump out to a 4-1 lead. And the Marlins and Giancarlo Stanton tied it with 2 home runs.
Way to lay off that. That's a tough pitch to lay off of with 2 strikes. Make him work a little bit more. Hopefully he throws him a fastball here and elevates it. And let Dominic hit that ball hard somewhere.
Outside 2-2. We didn't see the Cubs all the time. We saw them twice a year when Marmol was pitching for the Cubs. One of the favorite things I thought was when Lou Piniella was managing, Marmol was out on the mound, and just the reactions that Piniella had when Marmol was all over the place with this slider.
Yeah, when Lou hated walks. Yeah. So when Marmol would walk people, he would.
Well, he's had a good slider here tonight, at least to the first 2 batters.
It was quite boisterous when you walk people. Here you see a good slider, backdoor. Saltalamacchia catches it, frames it, holds it there. Called strike 3.
B.J. Rosenberg continues to throw in the pen for the Phillies. Carlos is 1 for 3. Outside, 1-0.
Good spot to get his first RBI, wasn't
That's right. Yeah, we were just going over it today. It crossed our mind. He went a little while last year without getting an RBI. Not a big deal. You figure he's going to get his share. Last year, I think he was just pressing as he was trying to. He was coming back off the suspension. One ball, one strike to Ruiz. Slider, and it's 1-2. Man. Carlos didn't know if that was going to slide right back over the plate for a strike. He just got a piece of it, a foul ball. Galvis on deck. Outside, ball 4. Wait a minute.
No, he called that one pitch, the fourth pitch, he called it a foul tip.
I still have. Okay, so you have your pitches there.
So it was that was a 2-2 pitch right there. The scoreboard had it wrong. I don't think they saw the umpire make the sign for a foul tip.
It looks like they're all in agreement of it. Now they can, and it's up to the umpire's discretion, check on record keeping. Carlos walks, doesn't matter. So that's why it's good you get your pitcher's chart there, because you saw the whole thing there.
Oh, I'm not always right. So.
Well, now Freddie Galvis. Freddie Galvis last September 2013 against Freddie Garcia, and he served it up. Galvis was sitting just 211 at that point. Second time that he hit a home run in the Phillies' last at bat to help them win a ball game. Hit one down the line against Aroldis Chapman too. Takes a slider. It's 0-1. Pitcher spot is due up next. Ben Revere has come out. There's Ben. Carlos short lead off first. Two and 1. A 25 or 19 pitch inning already. Slider, and it's a high strike. It's 2-2. Goes, pitches taken outside, and Ruiz now is in scoring position. So much for what we said before that he can't swipe it back, that more often than not it's a hit and run. Did he just not pay attention? He must have just
when you don't keep an eye on a guy, and it's timing, he comes set, and he just goes. It was a good pitch to run on, too. Saltalamacchia had to reach down to his left. He had to stay back to catch that ball first, even though it wasn't a strike. No contest.
Now, it's not a given that a base hit scores Ruiz because we got 3 strong arms in the outfield from left to right. That guy's got a cannon. He's warming it up.
Well, it hasn't been tested since Giancarlo's arm hasn't been tested since early in the game when he was kind of wiggling it around after a throw.
Ground ball, foul. By the way, just so you have it for record-keeping purposes, that is the 17th career stolen base for Carlos Ruiz.
We know Giancarlo's arm works to swing the bat.
Yeah, there was nothing ailing his swing earlier. 3-2 to Freddie Galvis. The pitch. And a call, strike 3. Throws him with a slider on the outside part of the plate. Marvel strikes out 3. The Phillies leave one in scoring position, and we are heading to extra innings here at Citizens Bank Park. Nights on the schedule here in the month of April. The first one is this Monday when the Atlanta Braves come to town. The next one is Tuesday the 29th against the New York Mets. You can order your tickets by going to Phillies.com or check out the entire Dollar Dog schedule by going to Phillies.com. Well, we go to the top of the 10th inning, extra innings here at Citizens Bank Park. First time here at home. B.J. Rosenberg in his 4th ball game. He'll take over for Jonathan Papelbon. So he is pitcher number 6 for the Phils. Phillies have Manship and Diekman left. Rosenberg 5 hits and 2 1/3 so far. Last season each team, as you see their extra inning record, 7-13 for Miami. The Phillies 6-7. So for both, this is their first extra inning game of 2014. Echeverria will lead it off. Echeverria has been on base 3 times this evening. Takes a strike. It's 0-1. Freddie Galvis in on the grass. Now will back up at 3rd. And Ryan Howard back behind the bag at 1st. Swing and a miss. Another good breaking ball. 0-2.
Was a good, sharp, down breaking ball.
It'll be Echeverria and then Solano.
We saw a lot of that in spring training.
And he comes back with a fastball.
Wow.
I'm not on board with Lance Barksdale's strike zone these last couple of innings.
I'm not either.
1-2. Tapper foul. P.J. Rosenberg trying to get the fastball back to where it was at the end of last year in the mid-90s, but just have the command too. Oh man, he shattered his bat. That ball's going to stay fair, one away. Pieces of that bat are everywhere in front of the plate. That one you can't use the little tacks to put it back together, no. JB.
What did you call it? Get inside. Getting in the kitchen? It was kitchen, living room, dining room.
Watch all the pieces if you can take a look at it in your high definition.
That ball had some run on it. Very nice.
Well, here's Solano. He flied out to center his first time up. It's that one, the shallow left. It's not deep. Dominic Brown froze for a moment, and they're 2 outs. And here is Christian Yelich with 2 away. Yelich reached on singles in his first 2 at bats. And the 1-0 pitch. Foul tip, 1-1. 94.
BJ is awfully sharp tonight. This is a lot of what we saw in spring training.
Absolutely. Try to finish off Christian Yelich, the 1-2 pitch. Tried another breaking ball. It's 2-2. Foul tip, and Ruiz hangs on. The side is retired. 1, 2, 3. Go the Marlins. Jamie, there's a fan of yours right there. He wants a little offense. We all do. We come back in the bottom of the 10th inning. Sure, this game remained tied and giving the Phillies offense a chance to possibly win it here in the bottom half of the 10th. Good command of the breaking pitch, good life on his fastball. Dan Jennings will be the new pitcher for the Marlins, and he will face Ben Revere and at the top of the Phillies order.
Again, all these guys coming out of the Marlins bullpen have really good arms. You get a left-hander throwing 89 to 94 fastball and a slider. I picked up on where been told that at one point he had the best slider in the Marlins organization. So we'll see what he's got.
If you're a left-hander throwing the velocity he has and then setting up an opportunity to throw that slider, I figure it's got to be a good one.
Might be another version of Jake Diekman.
Well, last year he had a 3.76 ERA in 47 games, a 1.89 ERA the year before in 22. He faces the left-handed hitting Ben Revere. The Phillies did have Jason Nix available from the right side. But this is a leadoff situation. A lot of times managers in this spot, and I'm not saying this is what Ryan Sandberg is doing, but a lot of times you have a leadoff hitter that you can use as pinch hitter to lead off an inning. You put him in that role.
Of course.
Takes low, 1 ball and no strikes.
What he's made to do. He can take pitches, force the pitcher to work a little bit. You got a new pitcher coming in the game, trying to adjust to a 4-4 game. He doesn't want to make a mistake. You get Ben on base and you can do a lot more things.
1-0 pitch. Outside, 2-0. Jennings is 26 years old. That one's back toward the middle, and it's caught and then dropped by Jennings. 1-3 on the putout, 1 away.
Look what I filmed. I don't even think he moved his glove. He hit right back into his glove. Here's the difference when you finish facing the hitter. Hit it right back at him. And here at that point when you drop it, it's just, you don't have to panic. It's just, let's bend over, pick up the ball correctly, and spin and throw.
Gwynn tries to bunt his way on a foul ball, 0-1. I don't know the way the trajectory of that ball was going. If it was going to go right toward Echeverria at shortstop anyway, if it was going to go up the middle, he was kind of shaded toward the middle, but it would have been a much more difficult play. 0-1 to Tony Gwynn. He's 2 for 4. Outside, 2-1. Check swing. Did he go? They'll appeal. No, says Kerwin Danley. And now it's 3-2. Jimmy Rollins on deck. He's had a good night again offensively. He's trying to get him up with a runner in scoring position, or at least a runner on. And the 3-2 pitch coming to Gwynn. Swing and a miss. And there are 2 outs. During this losing streak for the Marlins, their bullpen has not fared all that well. Their starters had a high ERA, but their bullpen had a high ERA. But between Eovaldi, who didn't allow a run since the 3rd, and now the bullpen, 4 different guys, they've kind of settled things down. And that's why we're still tied at 4. So Rollins is up. 2 for 4 with an RBI, a run scored. Got the first pitch to him. Wicked slider. It's 1 ball and 1 strike.
That was a real good slider down and in. A lot of bite to it. It's the slider I was talking about when he came into the game. They said he had one of the best sliders in the organization.
He threw it again, and it's 1-2. Like the Phillies, the Marlins are sort of pressed for guys out of the bullpen. Then they still have Cishek available, their closer. They have Archimedes Caminero. Now, Slowey pitched last night. He's essentially their long man. 1-2 to Rollins. With 2 outs here in the 10th inning. Up high, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. In the air to left field. Going back on it is Yelich. Back toward the wall. It is gone! Walk-off home run, Jimmy Rollins. A towering shot here in the bottom of the 10th inning. And the Phillies have won it 5-4. Here he comes. He is swinging a hot bat right now. Left-handed, right-handed. Great way to finish up Saturday night at the ballpark. Jimmy Rollins, a solo home run. He is our Chevrolet player of the game. And the Phillies win it 5-4 here in the bottom of the 10th inning. I'm not sure if there are too many things that are more exciting than a walk-off victory. And for Jimmy Rollins, he loves the big stage. He got that slider, and he was able to yank it out of the yard. He knew it, too. Ball carried well. Yelich going back. And there it is. And the celebration begins. Yeah, he did know it. A flair for the dramatic. The Phillies win it 5-4 on Jimmy Rollins' home run. Such a sweet swing. Boy, they got the barrel out big time.
He did. Well, he saw 2 pitches. Pulled his hands inside. Said, I got it.
Well, we waited a little too long because Jimmy's gotten the shaving cream. And he's down on the field with Murph. Murph, take it away.
Well, now I got to let him get cleaned up, so let him get a towel over here. And that was a good one. I didn't expect that one. Now that you're cleaned out, Jim. Now, Tom just said you love the big stage. These walk-off wins, the first one of this season. But oh, it's whipped cream. Oh, they always gave me shaving cream. You're a lucky man. that never gets old, does it?
No, not at all. We haven't had that around there since Tomas left, pretty much. And thinking back on it, AJ is a pie man.
Well, now we know.
Expecting it. Now we definitely know.
Take us through that at bat. I know that his slider was good through most of the inning, but you got one that you could hit.
Yeah, I knew the situation that I was going to get a lefty. The last 2 at bats coming down, batting between Gwen and Chasing Ryan. So I pretty much just said it's going to be on me to probably do something. Whether it's to get on base, get an extra base hit, steal some bases. Give them boys a chance. And the last bat, right before that, Marlin, said something to me. Now the fan up there yelling at me, so I wanted to shut him up more than anything.
You were involved in a pretty big play early in this game that kind of turned things around early in the replay challenge. Did you know right away that you had him beat at second base?
Yeah, I knew I had him beat. The play was coming my way. First thing to do, I have to make sure I get the ball, then I'll locate the bag. And I knew I got to the bag first because as I hit the bag and I'm coming off, he, kicked my foot off. So that tells me he definitely didn't hit the front of the bag, and his foot is usually over the bag. You see it a lot. Guys slide and they hit the bag with their back foot. And so I could see it all happening, even though it's fast. And then I feel the kick, and I'm like, there's no way in the world to beat me. And good thing we have replays. That changed a lot right there.
2 in a row in front of these fans. That never gets old, right?
Never gets old. We like to make this a common thing.
Thanks, Jimmy. Guys, back upstairs.
All right, Murph, thank you very much. Jimmy Rollins waiting for the interview. A little too close to the dugout. A.J. Burnett, as big as he is, able to sneak up and give him a little whipped cream. And this is why, because Jimmy Rollins saw a slider that he could drive, and he wins it for the Phils here at the bottom of the 10th inning. A 5-4 final score. Little walk-off variety here at Citizens Bank Park. We'll be back to wrap it up right after this.